The Natural Empire of the Sea Dragon. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 1, The Dragon Hatchling. Under the dark and tranquil lake, in a riverbed with lush aquatic plants, a green dragon egg is hiding. As the dragon egg keeps shaking and breaking, a young dragon hatches from the egg. The dragon scales of the young dragon are yellow-green like tender buds. After confirming the environment it is in, the young dragon calmly swallows the eggshell of the dragon egg and completes its first meal after birth. The rich energy contained in the eggshell can help the young dragon survive the initial dangerous period, nourishing the young dragon's body and giving it the physical strength to explore the underwater world. The young dragon folds his slender and short wings and sticks them to his back. Like a swimming fish, he swings his thin and long tail to push the water upwards. After surfacing, the young dragon looks at the vast lake and his pupils shrink unconsciously. After looking around, the young dragon said with emotion, "What a vast lake. If I hadn't seen the border of the land from afar, I would have thought I was in the sea. But such a large lake can barely be considered a sea. What kind of dragon would lay eggs underwater?" Although he was a giant dragon, he mastered the ability to breathe underwater, and staying in the water, Attilan felt that the cold energy was nourishing his body. Being able to descend into another world as a real dragon, Attilan felt that this feeling was wonderful. Although he was just a young dragon that had just broken out of its shell, he could feel the infinite potential contained in the body of a real dragon. He would definitely write his own legendary story in this world. Attilan Neptune Augustus. Attilan's heart was filled with an unprecedented feeling of happiness, which made Attilan read out his real name as a giant dragon, and suddenly a force emerged from his real dragon bloodline. Along with the green light of the ocean, Attilan obtained the inherited memory that he should have as a real dragon, and began to inquire about his life experience. Elemental dragons are actually subspecies of elemental dragons. They are dragons formed by the materialization of the four elements of earth, wind, water, and fire, either alone or in combination. Attilan is an ocean dragon formed by pure water element. The appearance of elemental dragons is because an elemental dragon that gathered the four elements of earth, wind, water, and fire completed the ceremony of deification. In order to expand his die-hard followers, he evolved the elemental dragons into real dragons. After materialization, the habits of elemental dragons became similar to those of metal dragons and color dragons. Under the guidance of the nine-faced dragon god Io, the elemental dragons in the neutral camp quickly adapted to the life mode of the material world. As for the elemental dragon god who created the elemental dragons, he disappeared without even leaving his name. Obviously, he underestimated the difficulty of creating a dragon species. In the end, he even sacrificed himself. But his results are gratifying. Elemental dragons are all real dragons with 12 growth stages, but the strength level of some elemental dragons is not much higher than that of white dragons. Of course, this does not include ocean dragons. After comparing metal dragons and chromatic dragons, Attilan believes that the ability level of ocean dragons is basically the same as that of silver dragons. And the hatching method of dragon eggs is similar to that of bronze dragons. Both require dragon eggs to be immersed in the ocean, or in a place where the tide flows through the dragon eggs at least twice a day. After a long incubation period of 660 days, Attilan finally broke out of the shell. No wonder his dragon egg was in the riverbed. This is indeed a suitable environment for hatching ocean dragons. Just take a breath and you can feel the rich water element energy pouring into his body. There is just one problem. Although the elemental dragons are not as responsible as metal dragons, they are not as indifferent to the life and death of dragon eggs as chromatic dragons. So where are his parents? At least one of them should guard a dragon egg. It is impossible to abandon the dragon egg completely. Wait. Attilan found a bright spot, that is, he is the only dragon egg on the riverbed. This means that he is a lost or stolen dragon egg. Was it intentional? Or was it accidental? Attilan didn't know. He had more important things to do now. Predation promotes physical development and the establishment of his own dragon nest. Attilan could only follow the hunting techniques inherited from his memory, restrain the unique breath of the ocean dragon, and use the dark vision of the real dragon that far exceeds that of ordinary fish to find the traces of the big fish underwater. The resources of this lake and sea are very rich. Less than 3 minutes after diving, Attilan locked the target, a big bluefish with a body length of nearly 2 meters. As long as he caught it, a fish would fill his stomach. Relying on the stealth ability brought by his talent inheritance, Attilan swam behind the big bluefish like a ghost, approaching the big bluefish's warning range, and Attilan swung his tail and limbs to accelerate the charge. Even if the big bluefish discovered Attilan and swung its tail violently to speed up and try to get rid of it, it was futile in front of the young dragon. When the young dragon's fangs bit the big bluefish's back meat, the sharp claws easily tore through the big bluefish's scales, and soon the big bluefish completely lost the strength to struggle. Attilan gutted the big black carp, removed the inedible internal organs and fins, and floated to the surface with a big black carp. He used his claws to cut the big black carp into strips of marbling meat, and elegantly enjoyed his afternoon tea. After the first bite, Attilan felt the water element energy rich in the fish meat. He frowned slightly and muttered to himself, "Is this lake water so nourishing? If I can eat such a big black carp every day, won't I be able to enter the young dragon stage in less than 3 years? This is not an ordinary big black carp at all, it is a magical big black carp." Speeding up to stuff the big black carp into his stomach, Attilan planned to dive into the water again to see if there are any more big black carps like this. If there are a lot of big black carps in the lake, then he can choose to build a nest on the island in the lake or on the shore. Diving into the lake again, Attilan planned to look for the area where he just found the big black carp. Since there is one there is a possibility that there will be a second big black carp. However, when Attilan swam there, he didn't see the big blue fish, but saw a little murloc holding a harpoon. According to Attilan's inherited memory, this blue-scaled murloc should not be an adult yet. And murlocs have the habit of taming aquatic animals over 2 meters in size as mounts. This means that the big blue fish that Attilan just ate should be the mount of this little murloc. The little murloc is 1.3 meters tall, and the adult murloc is about 1.5 meters tall. Because of the height problem, the harpoons used by murlocs are generally longer, and some can even reach 3 meters in length to make up for the problem of the murloc's lack of height. Since there is a little murloc who tames the magic blue fish as a mount, there must be a murloc tribe around. If this tribe is provoked, the young dragon may not be able to take advantage. However, Attilan really doesn't want to miss the magic blue fish of the murloc tribe. If he can tame this murloc tribe and make them loyal to him, Attilan thinks he has successfully taken root in this area. Compared to murlocs, sea dragons are more likely to gain the loyalty of aquatic lizardmen and aquatic snakemen. Diving into the bottom of the lake and grabbing some water plants to cover himself as camouflage, Attilan approached the little murloc to listen to what he was saying. The little murloc had a good sense of smell and followed the smell to find the remains of his big bluefish. At this moment, he was crying while holding the viscera of the big bluefish that Attilan had discarded, and he was still complaining, "Damn monster, I just took a nap and it ate my big bluefish. Dad will definitely not let me go when I go back, but I found a monster that preys on large fish near the tribe, so it can be considered a credit. I hope Dad won't punish too severely." The little murloc spoke the language of the water tribe, which was in Attilan's inherited memory. Even though the distance was a bit far, Attilan could hear it clearly. Through the little murloc's reaction, Attilan learned that this kind of magic bluefish was also rare in their tribe, and he was able to get one because he was the son of the tribe leader. Following the little fishman, Attilan saw this shabby fisherman tribe that lived at the mouth of the river, with half of the camp on land and half underwater. Attilan's mouth twitched. He seemed to have overestimated this fisherman tribe. The magic bluefish was not the result of their cultivation, but was naturally bred by this lake with a water element content that exceeded the norm. Then in the center of the lake, there must be a secret of the excessive water element content in the lake. Thinking of this, Attilan decisively chose to go ashore to build a nest, and put the conquest of the Fishman tribe on the agenda. As long as the Fishman tribe is conquered, he will have a cannon fodder to explore the mysteries of the center of the lake, and he only needs 50 years to grow into a young dragon who can stand on his own and master excellent spells. It will not be too late to explore the core area of the lake at that time. As a giant dragon, Attilan believes that the most important thing is to be steady. Relying on being a giant dragon, thinking that you are invincible, this kind of arrogant thinking is not desirable. Choosing the location of the dragon's nest in the range of the Fishman tribe's activities, it is easy to be discovered by the Fishman's patrols, and the food here is not enough to fill Attilan's stomach. Although the dragon can survive even if he eats soil, he does not intend to be lazy. With the range of this lake, as long as he insists on hunting magical creatures such as big bluefish, his body growth rate will be enhanced. Attilan's body length is only 2.8 meters, and it is only 0.7 meters when standing on the ground. His wingspan is 5 meters and his weight is 40 kilograms. Unless he spreads his wings and roars at the fishman, he can't even scare the fishman with his size. Only by eating hard to increase his size from small to medium can he initially show the majesty of a giant dragon. At least this small fishman tribe will be willing to submit to him. After swimming westward for nearly 30 kilometers from the fisherman tribe along the coastline, Attilan finally found a habitat with lush water and grass, where small fish will attract big fish to prey. Big fish eat small fish, and small dragons eat big fish. Attilan grinned, drank a sip of the lake water rich in water elements, then raised his claws and began to build his first dragon nest. Chapter 2, Archdruid. Attilan chose to build the dragon's nest underwater on the river bank. In addition to catching fish, he could also explore the forest to the west. Although the raw fish tasted great, Attilan still wanted to try cooked food, even if he didn't have any seasoning. Although he only soaked in the water for half a day, his intuition told him that there was a great terror in the center of the lake, and the lake was not suitable as the development direction of his territory. Then he had to choose the forest to the west. The power of the real dragon allowed Attilan to quickly dig out a cave with a length, width and height of more than 5 meters as his dragon's nest. It was not that he didn't want to dig deeper, but it was easy to collapse if he dug deeper. If the environment of the forest is suitable, Attilan plans to move the dragon's nest to the forest, even if his treasure is only a few small pearls taken from the river clams he picked up when digging the dragon's nest. Here, I would like to mention that the river clam meat is very fresh and can also produce pearls. Attilan plans to promote river clam farming to produce pearls in the tribe after he conquers the fishman tribe. The dragon's nest was ready, but Attilan did not choose to rest. He was still full of energy and planned to go for a walk in the forest. He broke through the water and flew into the sky. The feeling of flying for the first time was very wonderful. Not long after entering the forest, Attilan saw a suitable prey for him. It was a swamp monitor lizard. Attilan dived directly, and his swift figure made the swamp monitor lizard have no time to escape, and was bitten by Attilan's fangs on the neck. The monitor lizard kept struggling, but the fangs would only pierce deeper and deeper. Soon the monitor lizard lost its movement, and Attilan happily processed the ingredients. First, Attilan wanted to try whether his lightning breath could be used for barbecue, so he cut off the monitor lizard's tail with his claws, and then spit lightning at the tail in small bites. Unfortunately, the dragon hatchling, who was only 6 hours old, could not accurately control the power of the lightning breath, so that the roasted tail was burnt and raw. It tastes bad. Attilan threw the tail aside with disdain. Fortunately, there was not much meat on the tail, so it was not a waste for him to do so. First hang the monitor lizard meat on the tree, then Attilan goes to collect dry wood. Because this place is a wetland, it is really not easy to collect enough dry wood for grilling meat. After working for a long time, all he found were half dry and half wet wood. As a result, when Attilan came back, he was stunned. "Where is my meat? Such a big piece of meat is gone. Who did it? How dare you snatch food from the dragon's mouth?" Even the charred monitor lizard tail he threw on the ground was taken away. Following the direction guided by the dragon's intuition, Attilan flapped his wings and chased after it. When he found his monitor lizard meat, the meat thief had already roasted it. "Well, the meat I stole with great effort almost went into the mouth of you, the tiger man. Die, despicable thief." The slogan was loud, but Attilan's actions were very cautious. He carefully sneaked towards the tiger man's back, while accumulating the fierce energy of lightning breath in his mouth. At this time, a terrified voice sounded from the bushes not far away. "Be careful." Attilan blew out dragon breath decisively. He knew he had been exposed. He didn't expect that stealing a giant lizard meat would reach the level of a gang crime. Because the tiger man was reminded, he jumped and dodged in time. Only his right hand was hit by the lightning breath and became charred, but he still had the ability to fight. Looking at the tiger man's posture, Attilan didn't expect that he was still a monk. There was also a half-goat man who came out of the bushes with a silver dagger in his hand. Attilan roared fiercely, then suddenly rose up and turned around to retreat strategically. Seeing Attilan soaring into the sky and getting smaller and smaller, the tiger man and the half-goat man were stunned. Did they really encounter an arrogant dragon just now? Attilan had no choice. He could barely touch this tiger monk who looked like he was not yet an adult. If the opponent had another half-goat wanderer, his chances of winning would be slim. If he loses, he will die. If he wins, he won't gain much. As a giant dragon, he has plenty of time to waste with him. In a few years, when he reaches the young dragon stage, he will have a good time with him. There are tiger people and goat people in the forest. He can't eat barbecue in the future. He can only roast it half-cooked with lightning breath and eat it. This can also exercise his breath ability. The giant lizards he found this time were not as big as the first time, but fortunately there were two. He first severely injured one with his breath, and then stabbed the neck of the other with his claws. Hunting giant lizards is not difficult for giant dragons. Attilan was very decisive in eating this time. He just roasted it with his breath and tore the giant lizard meat into pieces with his sharp dragon teeth and stuffed it into his stomach, and then left the forest decisively. He dived into the lake and planned to catch some fish. The tiger people and goat people might be nearby. A gentleman does not stand under a dangerous wall. If they dare to chase them into the lake, Attilan will let them see what the majesty of a giant dragon is. After catching a few 4 or 5 kilograms of fish to eat, Attilan returned to his dragon nest to sleep. He slept until noon the next day, when he lazily got up. He flicked his wings and tail, intending to observe the life of the fishman. Who knew that as soon as he surfaced, he saw a bear man smiling kindly and waving at him. Attilan was terrified and wanted to dive into the water to escape. The bear man waved his hand lightly, and the water grass grew wildly and entangled Attilan. "Little guy, don't worry, I have no ill will towards you. The sea dragon is an important partner of nature. As a natural walker, I think it is necessary for me to guide the growth of the sea dragon without parental guidance." Looking at the water grass vines that even the brute force of the dragon could not break free of, Attilan found it hard to believe that this bear druid had no ill will towards him. "You said you have no hostility, so let me go first and then talk." The bear man smiled, and the green light fell on the water grass that entangled Attilan and sent him to the bear man. "If I wanted to kill you, you wouldn't have the chance to talk to me." The bear man showed his claws and shook them in front of Attilan. "My claws don't use magic, but it's no problem to tear open the throat of a young dragon." Attilan's pupils shrank, and he looked at the bear man druid nervously. "What do you want to do? Be my apprentice, become a druid, and stimulate your unlimited potential?" Attilan's expression was full of weirdness. He thought the druid caught him to tame him as an animal companion, but then he thought it was impossible. The arrogant dragon was not so easy to be tamed. He really thought he was a great druid. How about it? Become my apprentice, and you won't have to worry about having your food stolen and then trying to take it back only to find that you can't win, or you might even lose your life. Attilan suddenly realized, looked in the direction of the forest and said, "You were indeed recruited by that tiger man and the half-goat man. I came here for you, not for her, but to be honest, it's not easy to heal Tear's arm that was hit by your breath. Our lives as beastmen are hard enough, and I don't want her to offend the dragon again. It's not easy for a young dragon to have such a powerful breath. I'm determined to accept you as my apprentice." Attilan looked at the bear man in surprise. "You are born beastman. It is not easy to obtain the wish spell to turn back into a human. Not many people can cast the 9th level wish spell, not to mention the price of the wish spell. Are you willing to maintain the bearman form?" The bearman said cheerfully, "For a druid, there is nothing wrong with staying in the forest as a bearman, so have you agreed to be my apprentice? It is impossible for you to survive in this lake without your parents to take care of you." Attilan turned his head and looked at the lake whose center could not be seen at all. "Do you know what lives in the center of the lake?" The bearman grinned and manipulated the plants to put Attilan, who was wrapped like a dumpling, on the ground. "Like you, it is a giant dragon, and it is over 200 years old. 200 years old means it is a mature dragon, but based on the range of the lake, if he really regards such a large lake as his territory, he should at least be an old dragon." "How big is this lake?" "The area of 800 miles is all the territory of Thirstis. Originally, the lake was not so big. It was not until he occupied this place as his territory 200 years ago that the scope of the lake has been expanding. In order to limit the continued expansion of the lake and affect the balance of nature, I was sent here by the Natural Council to mobilize the power of the forest to resist the expansion of the lake. 20 years have passed, and I have achieved very little." After hearing what the bear druid said, Attilan felt that Thirstis was at least an ancient dragon, otherwise it would be strange if no one attacked him after making such a big fuss. "Then I can definitely go to Thirstis. We are all dragons," being stared at by the bear man's leisurely eyes, as if asking Attilan if he knew what he was talking about. He couldn't say anything at all. Not to mention whether others look down on him as a young dragon. Even if they do, he is at most a pawn. He has no intention of devoting his life to the cause of other dragons. Then what can I learn from you? The bear man put his hand directly on Attilan's head, not afraid that Attilan would bite him or spit on him. As the green light was injected into Attilan's body, Attilan felt as if he had awakened some innate spell-like ability. The sea dragon has a very deep connection with life and nature. It can be said that it is the most suitable dragon to become a druid. I heard that my master's master was led to the path of druid by a sea dragon. I have always wanted to know how magical the power of the sea dragon druid is, so when I learned that a sea dragon appeared nearby, I decisively came to find you. It's really not easy to find you. What do you mean by not easy? You found it the day before, and the next day you found the dragon's nest that flew dozens of kilometers away and blocked his door? After the bear man let go of his hand, Attilan found that he had mastered the ability to spit acid again, and at the same time he could create a spring that restores vitality and mana. Normally, this ability requires bathing in the dragon blood of an ocean dragon. Now he has gained the ability to release spring-like water on his own. It seems that being a druid is a good thing for an ocean dragon. Chapter 3, Tiger Man's Determination. After awakening the Water of Life talent spell, Attilan accepted the bear man as his master. Even though he was a young dragon, the magic resistance of a real dragon determined that the natural magic that could work on him, as well as the druids who cast the magic, were not simple people. Master, what are we going to do next? Next, you will move to the forest and live with us. Druids also need to practice every day to make progress. The process will be very hard, unlike real dragons who only need to hunt and sleep to naturally increase their strength. Can you stick to it? Because of the powerful power brought by their blood, many real dragons are very arrogant and lazy, but Attilan is different. He traveled through time and space, and is very different from the local real dragons. Don't worry, Master, for nature and for druids, I will definitely work hard. It's useless to shout slogans loudly. Druids only look at actual actions. Go back to your dragon's nest and pack your things, then come back with me, and then I will start your first lesson. After packing up his few small pearls, Attilan followed a bear druid who had transformed into a giant bear to the center of the forest, at the foot of an oak tree that was over 100 meters tall. The bear lived in the gaps between the tree roots and in the tree holes woven by vines. After changing back to the bear form, the bear went to his room and took out a package of things wrapped in leaves and gave it to Attilan. Attilan thought it was some magic prop, but when he opened it, he found it was just a package of oak seeds. Master, you gave me seeds. Don't you want me to plant trees? The bear nodded and said, the power of a druid comes from nature. Planting trees is an important practice. Remember to use your Water of Life talent spells and carefully sense the changes in natural energy in the piece of land before and after the seeds are planted. When the day comes that the seeds break out of the ground, Attilan's connection with nature will deepen. The druid communicates with nature through meditation and various behaviors to maintain the balance of nature to obtain natural energy, thereby mastering the ability to release various natural magics. It was difficult to disobey the master's order, so Attilan could only honestly hang the seeds around his neck. Then Master, shall I go plant trees now? Go to the south and plant the seeds in the places you think are suitable. Remember where each seed is planted. After that, you need to observe their changes every day. Got it? Attilan sighed. He knew that things would not be so simple. The life of eating and sleeping would be gone from him. Even so, he only lived such a life for one day. Come back to me after all the seeds are planted. Take this leaf with you. The forest will help you to a limited extent. The green leaves were marked with the spell of the druid. Attilan clamped the leaves with his scales and prepared to take off after confirming the south. Suddenly, he heard an angry roar. When he turned his head, a foot kicked him in the face, followed by a rain of fists, which made him dizzy. Damn, it was that tiger man. Fortunately, the bear man acted in time, wrapped the tiger man's arm with vines and pulled her away, otherwise Attilan would have turned his dragon head into a pig head. This tiger man is really powerful. Stop, as a monk, you must always maintain inner peace. Now go back to meditate and control your inner hatred. Through this old beating, Attilan recognized the reality. He is no match for the tiger man at all. If he hadn't used dragon breath to sneak attack yesterday, and then used dragon roar to intimidate the tiger man and the half-goat man, he might have been killed by them. As expected, the most important thing for a dragon is to be cautious. Now he is being beaten by the tiger man, and it is precisely because he is not strong enough that he was sneak attacked by the tiger man. Sneak attackers always sneak attack. This tiger man is from the shadow sect. The bear man's palm emitted a green light, shook his head, and Attilan looked at the bear man curiously. "Master, can you teach monks?" The bear man smiled and loosened the vines that were wrapped around the tiger man. "When you are old enough and have experienced a lot, you will find that many things are not as difficult as you imagined. You are a dragon, and you will have the most experience in this aspect in the future." Attilan remembered that the druid had a specialty of longevity, which made the druid's 10 years seem like 1 year, and the remaining lifespan became 10 times. The lifespan of an excellent archdruid is not necessarily shorter than that of a real dragon. This old bear said that the dragon Cetus occupied the lake 200 years ago, and he was sent here to stop the dragon's evil conspiracy. Could it be 200 years ago? Then, isn't it possible that this old dang is the archdruid? Although he was attacked by Catstep, Attilan still looked at the tiger man stubbornly. "If I wasn't born only 2 days ago, you wouldn't be my opponent at all. When I grow up to your age, let's fight again and see who will kneel down and beg for mercy." The tiger man just looked at him coldly and said firmly, "Even if I give you 15 years, the winner of our next fight will be me. By then, I must have become a legendary monk, and it would be easy for me to defeat a young sea dragon. If I hadn't used the stun punch just now, you wouldn't have had the chance to brag." After saying that, the tiger man saluted respectfully to the bear man. "Master, I'm going back to practice, so you came here just to beat me up, right? Although the skin was not broken, it hurts a lot. I, Attilan, will remember this grudge. Don't bother with Tyr. Everyone in her family was killed by an evil green dragon, and you happen to be a bit like the green dragon, both in appearance and in your personality of liking sneak attacks. She also controlled her degree and didn't hurt you. When you reach a higher level as a druid, you can fight back. Master supports you. Take this acorn and eat it." The meat was stolen by the goat man. "When he comes back, I will ask him to apologize to you." Attilan ate the green acorn in one bite, feeling the rich vitality nourishing his body, while the bear man felt a little painful. In order to compensate the little dragon, he really lost too much? Tisk tisk, the whole family was killed. This tiger girl sounds like a protagonist template, but your family was killed by the green dragon. You go and fight the green dragon. You can't take it out on me because you can't beat the green dragon. Is it wrong for him to like sneak attacks? He is really stupid. Tyr was lucky to escape, but even I may not be a match for an adult green dragon, so Tyr hopes to become a legendary monk and kill the green dragon. Attilan remembered that the challenge level of an adult green dragon was 13, the challenge level of a bear man was 5, and the challenge level of a tiger man was 4. To defeat an adult green dragon and become a legendary monk is a necessary prerequisite. And it is best for the master and apprentice to go on the field together, so as to ensure victory. As for whether the green dragon can be killed, it depends on whether the luck is good enough and whether the green dragon is stupid enough. Attilan asked curiously, "Master, how far is this tigress from becoming a legendary monk?" The bear man looked deeply at the straight oak that covered the sky. "If she can't get rid of the hatred and anger accumulated in her heart, I think it will be difficult for her to break through to the legendary realm. You are considered to be from the same school, you go and resolve the anger in her heart." "Ah, me." The bear man patted Attilan on the shoulder. "Believe in yourself, you will find a way to resolve the anger in her heart." Attilan really wanted to slap himself in the face. Why did he ask about the tiger man's situation? Now he is in trouble. "Master, I am just a druid apprentice, not a priest. I don't think I can help her. I can't do thankless things." The bear man stared at Attilan with a kind smile, which brought him great pressure. "Druids are agents of nature, and tiger men are part of nature. As my apprentice, how can you say that you can do it? Try to do it. This is also a rare practice. Master will not be stingy with rewards if you do it well. Master is optimistic about you. You can do it." After saying that, the bear man patted his shoulder again. Since there is a reward, Attilan will naturally go. It's just right for Laudang to give him more gold coins to resolve the anger so that he can have a reason to fight the tiger man a few more times. The water of life spells brought by the awakening ceremony alone are of great benefit to him. If he learns more unique spells from Laudang, he can build his own empire faster. Flying south with the oak seeds, he passed a tribe of centaurs on the way. The centaurs were aiming their bows and arrows at Attilan, but the oak leaves he held between whose scales glowed faintly, and the centaurs put down their bows and arrows at the call of the horse king. Finally, he flew over the forest and came to the wilderness. As soon as he entered the wilderness, Attilan keenly felt the subtle changes in the power of nature. He instantly understood that he might really learn something by planting trees. He dug a hole with his claws and put in the oak seeds. Attilan used the last water of life today. At this stage, he can only use it 3 times a day. As he grows, the number of releases will increase. When he becomes a druid, he can also use the druid spell slot to release the water of life. When the green water flowed into the oak seeds buried in the earth, the vitality of the sprouts breaking through the ground brought Attilan into a mysterious realm. He felt the power of nature. Chapter 4, The Way of the Druid. The druid's training was smoother than Attilan had imagined. He became a formal druid in just the first training and mastered the use of several spells at once. With the help of spell slots, he can now use 4 level 1 spells. As a first-level druid who has just started, he should have 2 level 1 spell slots, but he has 4. Is it because he is a real dragon? Let's ignore this problem. With 4 spell slots, he can use the water of life to plant 4 more oak seeds. The power and frequency of spells that druids can use are closely related to their contribution to nature. Free spell slots are indeed more fragrant than casting spells with magic and materials. For example, planting oak, but the contribution of druids is to maintain the balance of nature, so trees cannot be planted randomly, and must be beneficial to the balance of nature. Choosing a suitable planting site requires excellent vision. Attilan saw the boundary of the 800-li lake clearly in the sky. The oak was planted here. When the oak grows up, it can gather earth and wind elements to fight against the water elements eroded by the lake. After choosing a suitable location to plant the remaining 4 oak seeds, Attilan shook off the mud on his claws. He felt that the soil was already somewhat moist. We must speed up the process. Attilan turned his head and glanced at the lake. If a forest defense line was established along the shore to effectively resist the erosion of the lake, how high could his druid level be raised? Since planting 5 oak seeds, he could vaguely feel that the natural energy of the forest extended a weak lifeline to the vast wilderness in the south through the oak seeds. The old bear only gave more than 10 oak seeds. Attilan planted all the seeds directly. It would not delay the growth of the oak seeds if he cast the water of life for irrigation tomorrow. Today, he would irrigate with lake water first. Even if the first practice was successfully completed, he could go back to his master to learn the druid's meditation method. The bear man was not surprised that Attilan came back so quickly. The druids who had just started learning could not sense the rhythm of life. Either they planted quickly like Attilan, or they kept wasting time beside the seeds trying to find the budding breath of life. Master, all the seeds have been planted. Can you teach me how to meditate? The bear man laughed at Attilan's impatient expression. Got it. For ordinary druid apprentices, impatience is not an advantage, but for Attilan, a dragon druid, impatience is helpful for him to learn the way of druids. Druids are natural walkers, so they must move when practicing the way, maintain the balance between animals and plants, and maintain the balance between matter and elements. Although the archdruids often sleep for hundreds or thousands of years like dragons, they are still practicing to explore the mysteries of life and the emerald dream of life. The emerald dream that appeared at some point made it easier for the archdruids to practice. The most important thing for a druid is to move, but the lazy dragons will sleep at any time. The young ones will sleep for several days, and the adults will sleep for several years. The impatient Attilan can practice the druid diligently. Follow me. Following the instructions of the bear man, squatting on the roots of the tree of life, Attilan began his first meditation. Following the guidance of a green light, he vaguely felt as if he had come to a strange realm full of life. Warm sunshine, gentle wind, towering green trees, elves playing in the forest, deer nibbling on grass, and leopards lurking in the shadows to spy on the deer. The harmonious and vibrant scene made Attilan feel a strange energy, which flowed back and forth in his body with his breath, making him feel uncomfortable. However, with his dragon roar, what gushed out of his mouth was not lightning or acid mist, but a green wind with a strong breath of life. The bear man who had been observing Attilan's meditation also discovered his unusualness at this moment. With Attilan's breathing, the wind of life quietly flowed in the forest. The bear man heard the smile of the tree of life swaying its arms, and heard the vitality of grass and mushrooms breaking through the ground. Seeing the changes in the forest after Attilan meditated to communicate with the power of nature, he finally understood why his master's master firmly believed that the ocean dragon was the most suitable to become a druid. Attilan's power is not yet obvious. When he grows up and becomes a great druid, he will have the terrifying ability to change the environment of a region, which will play a stabilizing role in reversing the imbalance of nature. After Attilan finished his meditation, the bear man did not directly tell him the impact he had just brought. You can communicate with the Emerald Dream in your first meditation. You have the talent of a great druid, but if you want to become a druid, you still need to go through strict training, Attilan nodded. It is not easy to achieve anything. Even a dragon will encounter many tests if he wants to survive to the ancient dragon stage. By the way, Master, I remember that a druid who has just started should only have 2 spell slots for level 1 spells. Why do I have 4? Does this mean that I am a genius picked out of a million? I will ask your master later to see if he knows. After all, he is a druid taught by an ocean dragon. The bear man thought it was normal for a dragon to have more spell slots than an ordinary druid. In short, Attilan should not be proud and complacent, fall asleep, and neglect the practice of druids. It's just a level 1 spell. Is it of any use to you? The bear man's light words choked Attilan. If used in battle, it is indeed not as useful as his breath, claws, and fangs. After all, casting spells requires preparation. And his breath can be cast instantly. Tomorrow, continue to plant trees. This time, you have to choose the seeds of trees in the forest, sense the vitality of the seeds, and sense where this kind of tree is suitable for planting. When you turn the wilderness into a forest, which animals are suitable to God to live in the forest, and how to maintain the natural balance of the forest. These are all things you still need to learn. Druids don't need to learn this knowledge. As long as your perception is strong enough, they will naturally tell you how to arrange it. Yes, Master. After a week of practice, Attilan finally couldn't help it and found the bear man and asked shyly, Master, if I find some people to assist me in the work of natural balance, it shouldn't be considered a violation of the druid's way, right? The bear man frowned. It's only been a week and he can't help wanting to be lazy? Sure enough, he still overestimated the dragon. Let's stimulate him again tomorrow. You tell me first. I think as druids, we should not only focus on planting on land. We can also plant aquatic plants in the riverbed under the lake. Through aquatic plants, we can gradually turn the lake back into land. There is a tribe of fishmen near my previous dragon nest. If I conquer them, there will be more than 100 people to help spread the seeds of aquatic plants in the lake. It is better to let them take care of it than to ask the druids to do everything by themselves. It is really a waste of talent for the druids to do things like planting trees by themselves. The druids only need to be responsible for planting. The bear man understood. This guy didn't want to be lazy. He clearly wanted to collect a group of followers, thugs, and servants. The bear man looked at him in surprise. Is this your druid way? I think your dragon nature has awakened. You started to collect followers when you were only 10 days old. Do you want to build a huge empire to rule in the future? Attilan laughed. Master, what's wrong with this? Building an empire that belongs to druids and nature, can't we better maintain the balance of nature? When the time comes, as long as a decree is issued, the disharmony of nature will be quickly dealt with. I want to see how many heads they have if they want to cheat the archdruid. Old-school druids like the bear man believe in intervening in nature when necessary, but Attilan wants to try his own druidic way, even though he has only been a disciple for 7 days. The bear man also believes in intervening when necessary, because Attilan is also a part of nature, and the druids should not intervene too much before he loses control. Chapter 5, The Gold Gourmet. Although the bear man acquiesced to Attilan's behavior of collecting followers, he still felt it necessary to remind Attilan what a druid should do. However, the next morning, Attilan did not go to the fishman tribe to subdue them, but continued to look for something in the forest. At the suggestion of the bear man, the gold man found Attilan with a piece of roasted giant lizard meat. I actually stole your giant lizard last time. Since you are already Master Geoge's apprentice, we are also considered to be one of our own. I will return this piece of giant lizard meat to you. It is smeared with my homemade jam and spices collected from the forest. It must be better than what you make. Attilan grabbed the giant lizard meat, tore a piece with his fangs and stuffed it into his mouth. As expected of a goat man surrounded by hedonism, roasted meat is delicious. You are a goat man, why do you stay in such a boring forest instead of participating in joyful festivals and grand events? The goat man touched his nose, revealing the hideous wound on his chest. Tyr is my best friend. If she hadn't saved me, I would have been killed by the human lord. She wanted to study with Master Geoge, so I followed her. Besides, the forest is not boring. The centaur village has a bonfire party every month, and across the forest is the halfling town. I only need a piece of giant lizard meat like this to ask the centaur to take me to the halfling town. Attilan looked at him with a smile. Do you have money to spend in the halfling town? The goat man patted the panpipe hanging on his waist and said confidently, I am the best musician, how can I not be popular? Then do you think Pearl is popular in the eyes of the halflings? The goat man was stunned for a moment. He didn't understand why Attilan suddenly asked this question. It should be possible. If there is a suitable jewelry craftsman to make it, I think the halflings will not mind exchanging a piece for a local specialty. After all, those halflings are very good to their wives. Attilan nodded thoughtfully. It was unrealistic to rely on the dragon's might to make the fish tribe sincerely submit to him. In addition to intimidation, he also needed to lure them with benefits. The half-goat in front of him seemed to have become the key to the first step of his empire's voyage. The food he made must not be particularly delicious to the halflings. But for the ignorant fish tribe who are still making harpoons with bones, it must be a rare delicacy in the world. With roasted giant lizard meat and roasted fish meat, coupled with his dragon's might, the fish people will definitely surrender. Looking at the giant dragon in front of him, his eyes suddenly became greedy, and the half-goat's heart began to beat. Fat man, I have a business, are you willing to do it? What business? I provide the meat, you help me process it, how about we each have half? The half-goat secretly breathed a sigh of relief. As long as he didn't eat him, there would be no problem. No problem. I will process it for you whenever you bring it to me. Tyr and I live on a small hill northeast of the Tree of Life. There is an open martial arts training ground there. You can see it at a glance when you fly in the air. By the way, what have you been looking for flying around in the forest these days? Originally, I wanted to find food that can be planted in large quantities and provide sufficient nutrients. But now there is a small town of halflings in the west of the forest, so I can conquer the fish tribe and let them cultivate river clams to produce pearls. The half-goat nodded as if he understood, and then asked curiously, but with the inferior wisdom of the fish people, can they really learn how to cultivate river clams instead of opening the river clams and eating them? River clams are also food. If the fish people in charge of cultivating them are not full, they will naturally steal the cultivated river clams, so Attilan needs to make sure that the fish people will at least not work on an empty stomach. During the investigation in the forest these days, Attilan found several common fruits, apples, grapes, pears, peaches, dates, and some nuts such as pecans, pine nuts, and acorns. But these foods have already been taken, and the druid cannot rashly disrupt the existing ecological balance. Attilan can only pick some seeds with strong vitality and plant them first. But even if he uses the water of life to assist, it will take about a year for the fastest to bear fruit, and the yield in the first year will definitely not be too high. Also, we need to examine which animals are suitable for breeding, can produce enough offspring at a time, and can grow meat quickly, and provide a stable source of food. The satyr didn't understand much, but he was shocked that a dragon born 10 days ago had already started to think about such a profound question. For him, if there is no food, he can go to the forest to find it. Anyway, there are fruits, nuts, and various meats in the forest. There is only one person, at most here, so there is no need to think too much about what to eat. You said you took the trouble to subdue those fishmen, but what can you get from them? Don't let the return be less than your investment. You know that with a master here, he will definitely not let you exploit your followers like the dragon did. Exploiting the labor surplus value of the followers is a very stupid behavior. Only by mobilizing their enthusiasm for work can these fishmen take the initiative to contribute to his natural empire. The druid way proposed by Attilan was not entirely to fool the old barehead. He really wanted to see if he could achieve the goal of quickly improving the druid level in this way. You don't have to worry about this. Go to the centaur village first and tell them that I will come to visit you in a while. I will go catch some animals as gifts. The fawn was stunned when he heard this, and turned his head subconsciously and asked, You don't want to subdue the centaurs as your followers, do you? Let me tell you, the Horse King is very powerful, and Tyr's not his opponent. When the Horse King asks the master questions, the master always thinks before answering. Is the Horse King also a druid? Facing Attilan's question, the fawn shook his head. No, the few centaur warriors I know are rangers. They all learn their skills from the Horse King. The Horse King should also be a ranger. Okay, I know, you go first. After saying that, Attilan flew into the sky. Not only did he catch giant lizards and wild boars, he also relied on his good mobility to pick a lot of fruits and nuts and pack them together to take with him. Because of the advance notice of the fawn, The centaurs did not show panic about Attilan's visit, and for the first time did not use bows and arrows at him. Before, every time he flew through the air, there would be arrows aimed at him, but the number was getting smaller and smaller. As a formal druid, the centaur no longer rejected Attilan. The faun was also very considerate and waited for Attilan at the entrance of the village. Seeing his large and small bags of things, he was very surprised. If he was asked to collect them here, he would definitely be exhausted. With so many things, we can hold a bonfire party today, faun, please. My name is Mep. Got it, faun. After hearing this playful conversation, the king of horses temporarily relaxed his vigilance against Attilan and waved to the centaur woman next to him and ordered, "Go and ask them to prepare the materials needed for the bonfire party." As night fell, the king of horses personally lit the bonfire platform in the center of the village. Knowing that Attilan had something to ask of the centaur, the faun Mep went all out at this party, allowing Attilan to see what the enthusiasm of a gourmet is. Looking at the pained expression of the faun, it was clear that the spices he took out were not cheap. Attilan tasted the wild boar leg, which was more delicious than in the morning after adding various spices, and his eyes were immediately brightened. Sure enough, barbecue with more spices is delicious. Yes, you can also grow spices. Not only barbecue, but all kinds of cooking methods are inseparable from the addition of spices. It is easy for druids to grow spice plants, and the price of high-quality spices is comparable to or even higher than gold. It was decided to use the money from the sale of spices as the startup capital of the natural empire. Eating barbecue and enjoying the strong liquor provided by the centaurs, the goat man could not hide his excitement on his face, and he picked up the panpipe and played it. The beautiful music made people intoxicated, and the centaurs were very happy. Attilan understood why the goat man could eat well everywhere. Amid the lively celebration of the crowd, the horse king found Attilan. "Tell me, what exactly do you want us to do for you? I just need your help in guarding and transporting some things." Similar to a caravan, the horse king looked at him firmly, as if he wanted to see through Attilan's thoughts. Attilan looked at him impartially, and finally the horse king agreed to Attilan's employment. "As long as you pay the right amount, the centaur tribe has no problem, then it's a happy cooperation." Attilan stretched out his dragon claws, and the horse king also stretched out his hand to shake it. Chapter 6: Conquering the Murloc Tribe. The next morning, when the goat man stood up, rubbing his aching head after a hangover, he found himself sleeping under a big tree by the lake, not far from the Fishman tribe. "Hiss, why am I here? Didn't I fall asleep in the centaur tribe yesterday after drinking too much?" At this time, the water surface not far from the goat man began to ripple, and Attilan broke out of the water, throwing the 2 big fish and miscellaneous aquatic products in front of him. "This morning, I finished my meditation and you didn't wake up yet, so I caught you and flew to the Fishman tribe, and then went into the water to catch fish." The goat man's eyes widened, pointing at the Fishman tribe and questioning, "You just threw me here. What if those barbaric fishmen caught me and ate me alive?" "Don't worry, although I'm catching fish underwater, I've been paying attention to your situation. Besides, with my scent, they don't dare to get close, and I've left something to protect you." As he spoke, a green vine extended from the big tree and pushed the fish and shrimp. "Are you sober? If you are, hurry up and deal with these fish, shrimps and crabs." Plant control. "You actually learned this spell, amazing." Feeling impressed by Attilan's progress and knowing that he was not abandoning him, the goat man took out a dagger and began to deal with the fish scales, while asking doubtfully, "I promised you to help with the ingredients, but you don't have to go to the Fishman tribe to cook, right?" Attilan smiled cunningly. "Have you forgotten that last night you promised me that you would do everything you can to help me conquer these country bumpkin fishmen with delicious food?" The goat man tried hard to recall what happened last night, but the centaur's strong liquor was too strong, and he couldn't remember what happened at all. He only remembered drinking, and drinking, and then he blacked out. In the middle, he seemed to have really promised Attilan something. The goat man was processing the ingredients carefully, and Attilan continued, "I also drank some centaur liquor last night. This liquor is a mixture of barley, wild grapes, spices, and brewed in oak barrels. The flavor is really unique. I think it can be sold as a commodity to the halfling town." The goat man rolled his eyes at Attilan. "Do you need to tell me that? The horse king has been doing business with the halflings for a long time. Also, my spices were all used in the bonfire party yesterday. You brought me here directly. How can I cook without spices? There's everything in the forest. Tell me what you need and I will find it now." Attilan thanked the old bearhead from the bottom of his heart. It was obvious that this forest was carefully planned by him, the great druid, otherwise there would be no such variety of fruits, nuts and spices. There were not many spices, and the bear people only used them to satisfy their occasional appetite. But after the intelligent life that migrated to the forest to live discovered these spices, some of those who were good at planting picked some seeds and planted them near their habitats. In addition, birds accidentally ate them, and the scale of spices gradually expanded in the forest. Just the ones I used yesterday will do. You should know them, right? Facing the suspicion of the fawn, Attilan raised his head confidently. Who do you think is in front of you? The dragon's sense of smell can easily distinguish the spices you used yesterday. Wait, before the fawn had processed all the ingredients, Attilan came back with all kinds of strange spices. The fawn frowned and asked, except for pepper, chili, turmeric, mint, and rosemary, I know the rest. You are not going to tell me that they are also spices. From the appearance, these fruits, leaves, bark, roots, and branches all exude a strange aroma. In theory, they should be able to be used to make dishes. But there is a very critical problem. The fawn doesn't know how to use them. It's better not to use spices than to use them indiscriminately. Why did you bring back all the peels? Looking at the fawn's appearance, it is clear that he is just a half-baked chef. He doesn't know how to use most of the spices he brought back. These are all good things. Next, you should use these spices according to my instructions. You, facing the half-goat man's distrust, Attilan said with a dark face, I am a druid, so I will naturally tell me how to use these spices. These tangerine peels were from an orange tree that he had finally found in the forest. Because his claws were not suitable for such delicate operations as handling orange peels, he specially asked the bear man for help. The oranges are quite sour, but that is because they have not been well taken care of. Attilan, who likes to eat oranges, believes that under his cultivation, the oranges will definitely be rejuvenated. Attilan not only likes to eat oranges, but also likes basically all citrus fruits. Moreover, cultivating citrus fruits is also a very good practice for druids. As long as you get any 2 citrus fruits, you can get a new variety through hybridization. It is simply the best subject for druids to practice. When Attilan proposed this characteristic of citrus to the bear man was stunned. He never thought that there would be a kind of planned, and the relationship between them could be so complicated. With the orange in his hand, the bear man naturally gained knowledge about citrus fruits. Although there were not as many varieties as Attilan mentioned, the hybridization of 2 citrus fruits could really produce a new variety. Especially after eating Attilan's clay pot stewed chicken with orange peel, the bear man also fell in love with the spice and picked a few orange seeds to sprinkle on the open space in the forest. Many druids know the effects of plants, but they don't think divergently. For example, which druid would think of using orange peel and orange leaves as spices to make food? When Attilan returned to get the dried tangerine peel today, the bear man learned that he wanted to use food to subdue the fish people for his use. The bear man suddenly felt that Attilan was very different from other dragons. Few dragons like to eat so much, and they also study planting and breeding. When seeing a new variety, Attilan's first reaction was actually whether it was edible. Is it delicious? The bear man gradually believed that Attilan subdued the fish people because he really felt that it was not as convenient for him to act alone as a tribe. Planting aquatic plants was not true, but planting fruit trees, spices, and breeding monitor lizards, pheasants and wild boars was definitely true. But to subdue the murlocs, you must start with raising fish, right? Originally, I thought that the special thing about the ocean dragon walking the druid path would be his talent. Now looking at his personality, the bear man felt that his realm had actually loosened slightly. Attilan used a fire spell to ignite the dry wood collected here. After becoming a druid, finding dry wood is easy, and there is no need to worry about not finding enough dry wood. Spice the fish meat that was cut open and tied up with sticks and vines. The flames licked the surface of the fish meat slightly, and the fish meat slowly turned golden. A rich fragrance drifted towards the Murloc tribe as Attilan flapped his wings. But until the fish meat was roasted, no Murloc came out to inquire about the situation. The half-goat man held back his laughter and wanted to bribe the Murlocs with delicious food, but no Murloc came out to show his support. Now I want to see how you end up, little dragon. Unexpectedly, Attilan flew directly towards the Murloc tribe. Murloc, come out and speak. 10 days after his birth, Attilan's body, which had been slowing down since he became a druid, began to grow again after meditating and absorbing the force of nature. The majestic aura he exudes now is no weaker than that of some dragons in the young dragon stage. Attilan believes that he can intimidate this tribe of old, weak, sick and disabled murlocs and make them surrender. With a loud dragon roar, an old murloc with scales falling off his body, leaning on a wooden stick, with strange water plants, bones and scales hanging on his body, walked out of the village tremblingly. "Great dragon, I wonder if you have come to our humble murloc village. What can I do for you? You can see that I need some followers to work for me. Follow me in the future and eat delicious food and drink spicy drinks. The food I prepared just now is a gift for you, but, if you don't want to, I won't force you." After saying that, he aimed at a wooden stake on the riverbank and spit out dragon breath. The blue-white lightning turned the wooden stake into charcoal. The threat was self-evident. We agree. It is our honor to become the followers of the great dragon," the old fishman laughed. He knew very well that if a dragon came forward to recruit them as his subordinates, there was no possibility for them to refuse. Chapter 7 How to use murlocs correctly? Send someone to the goatmen to get the prepared food. Attilan gave the order, and the old fishman waved his wooden staff towards the village again. "Come out, everyone, and get the reward given to Aspire Master." A string of fishmen appeared from all the hidden corners of the village, but Attilan knew from their appearance that they were the warriors of the village, and the women and children were still hiding. The scales of the leading fishman reflected white light in the sun, and he was 1.7 meters tall. Compared with other fishmen, he was simply a crane among chickens. With him, this fishman tribe was not completely without the potential for war. Grilled fish, lizard and mushroom soup, boiled shrimp and crab, fried fish with jam, and stewed squid with honey, these ingredients were also the ingredients that the fishmen often saw, and they never thought that these ingredients could be so delicious. The sturdy fishman and the old fishman looked at each other. The dragon that recruited them today seemed different from other dragons they had heard of. They had never heard of any dragon being so good to its followers. Attilan smiled softly, pointed at the goatman and said, "Mep is the best chef under my command. These delicacies are all made by him. You can send a fishman to learn cooking from him, and he will teach you everything he knows." I said I won't treat you unfairly. As long as you listen to my orders, the food today will allow you to eat like this every day in just 1 year. Everyone in the village can eat until their stomachs are full. I think you don't want the children and the elderly to continue to be hungry, right? Attilan's words immediately silenced all the fishmen who were still eating and drinking. Today was not only the best meal they had, but also the fullest meal they had. This sentence silenced the fishmen. Attilan suddenly realized that the living standards of these fishmen might be worse than he imagined. Even if he didn't take out these delicacies, he only needed to stand up and intimidate them, and the fishmen would choose to surrender. The only two murlocs who are capable of fighting are a sturdy murloc and an old murloc. That's right, although the old murloc looks like a candle in the wind, there is a faint water element lingering around his body. He should be a priest. Priest is an identity. Whether the specific profession is a druid or a priest depends on what the old murloc believes in. How many murlocs are there in the tribe now? Attilan looked directly at the old murloc and asked. There are 16 adult murlocs who can fight, 20 female murlocs, 22 children, and 4 elderly people. What do you want, master? The old murloc looked at Attilan a little nervously. How many can work? Everyone can work. The master can just give orders. Let the others come out first so that I can see. Seeing this group of pale and skinny murlocs, Attilan frowned. He worked so hard for so long just to subdue murlocs of this level? Let them all eat together. Except for those who can't hold a hoe, everyone else, whether adults or children, go and cultivate the fields and cut down trees. No, you must not cut down trees, the old fishman hurriedly persuaded anxiously. Attilan frowned, not understanding why the old fishman didn't allow him to cut down trees. There is a powerful druid in the forest. Cutting down trees will incur the wrath of the druid. Even if the master is a dragon. I'm afraid he can't bear the wrath of the druid now. As he said this, the old fishman looked at Attilan nervously, afraid that his straightforward words would stimulate the dragon's sensitive self-esteem. However, he saw Attilan laughing out loud. Was it a laugh of anger? Attilan's evaluation in his heart had risen to a higher level. Go and cut down trees without worry. I'll take responsibility if anything goes wrong. I'll communicate with the druid. The satyr didn't say anything, but just watched Attilan pretending to be cool. It didn't matter if the fishman didn't know, But he knew that the master didn't forbid cutting down trees as long as it wasn't cut down indiscriminately. Yes, master, the old Murloc sighed softly. He could only hope that Attilan could really withstand the pressure from the druids, or that the druids were wise and would not take their anger out on these small shrimps. Whose priest do you believe in? How much power do you have now? The old Murloc immediately said seriously, I am a priest who believes in dragons. Because I lost the dragon master I originally believed in, I lost more than half of my power. If I can believe in the master as the new dragon master, my power should be able to gradually recover. Believe in dragons? Considering who is the most powerful dragon in the area where the Murloc tribe is located, Attilan widened his eyes and asked, who was your previous master? Yes. Seeing that the old Murloc was reluctant to say it, Attilan asked coldly, is it Sudis? That's right. Because of a failed battle, the tribe, which was already severely damaged, was exiled by the dragon master. The tribe, which lost the guidance of the priests and the commander, has gradually declined and has become a broken tribe with only a few hundred people. The words of the old Murloc were full of desolation. I allow you to believe in me. If you follow me, your tribe will not only return to its former strength, but will even become a super tribe with a population of over 10,000. Attilan's words were full of bewitching meaning. He was not deceiving the old fishmen. Since they were the first force to join his command, he would definitely strengthen their strength if possible. As for breaking through 10,000 people, that was completely impossible. If he had the resources to support a 10,000-man fishman tribe, wouldn't it be better to train lizardmen and snakemen? Even if there were more fishmen, could it still change the situation of the war? If the fishmen were useful, would this fishman tribe still be exiled? Cestus was already a rare king on the continent. He couldn't use the fishmen well, so could Attilan? Attilan scratched his chin with his claws. It seemed that he really could. The fishmen were not good at fighting, so why not just not let them fight? The reproduction capacity of the fishmen was strong enough. Their excellent growth rate allowed them to become adults and provide labor in 3 to 5 years, and their not so low intelligence enabled them to be competent for farming and breeding. The latest task is to collect all the river clams that produce pearls, and then build a river clam breeding farm along the lake according to this model. Remember, you are not allowed to eat river clams in the future. The requirements for the river clam farm are as follows. Attilan used his claws to scratch the appearance of the river clam farm on the ground, and told the old fishman the size and water level of the river clam farm, as well as the food and fertilizer that needed to be provided to the clams. Got it. Sure enough, he was still thinking too much. The dragon only had treasure in his eyes. He had learned to breed pearls. The dragon was really crazy about money. Master, there are some pearls in the village. They were obtained when collecting food these years. I am willing to give them all to you. I hope these pearls can make this dragon quiet for a while. After receiving the old fishman's instructions, a fishman turned and entered a room, and walked out holding a river clam shell that was more than 50 centimeters long. The clam shell was filled with pearls piled up into a small mountain. The pearls emitted an alluring pink glow in the sun, which immediately stimulated Attilan's greedy personality as a dragon collecting treasures. Fortunately, Attilan, who was walking the druid's way, was illuminated by a cool green light and instantly regained consciousness. Fortunately, the greed in the blood of the ocean dragon was not too strong. Attilan put all the pearls into the storage space of the dragon's stomach. The dragon's stomach not only has a terrifying digestive ability, but also can temporarily store the dragon's treasures. Then do you still need to build the river clam field? Go on. As for these pearls, I won't take them for nothing. I will send you a batch of food as a reward in a while. Thank you, kind master. Having said that, the old fish man never thought about what these pearls could be exchanged for. Collecting clams will consume manpower, so don't worry about your food. I will send you some meat and fruit regularly. You also have to pay attention to the clam fields and clams that I want. Yes, master, I will do my best. After saying that, he grabbed the goatman and flew into the air, deliberately not supervising the work of the fishmen. He just wanted to see if these fishmen would disobey his orders. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 8 Never Seen Such a Brazen Dragon. After landing in an open space not far from the Tree of Life, the fawn held on to the tree trunk and tried to adjust his dizzy brain. He still couldn't adapt to this way of flying, being lifted up in the air and swaying. Attilan's claws were not big enough. Unless he dug his claws into his flesh, he couldn't hold the fawn at all. He had to make things harder for him. Being carried away was much faster than the fawn running on the ground with his short legs. "You're just leaving like that? I want to test their loyalty to me, really." Obviously the fawn didn't really believe Attilan's statement. How could a group of fishmen who had just been subjugated have any loyalty? Thinking of the changes in Attilan after the pile of pearls appeared, the fawn suddenly realized, oh, it's because of those pearls. Pearls are important, but not that important. The reason is that I want to turn the pearls into food and ship them back as soon as possible. You just saw that. How can those fishmen work without 2 pounds of meat? As a giant dragon, I have been very friendly by subduing my followers and giving them delicious food. If they still don't know what's good for them, they should see the wrath of a giant dragon so that they can work well. After hesitating for a long time, the half-goat man opened his mouth several times but still couldn't express his request. Attilan looked annoyed and asked him directly, "What do you want me to do? Just tell me. I will help you if I can. If someone is too nice to you, he is either a traitor or a thief." When this half-goat man took the initiative to bring Barbecue to apologize to him, Attilan knew that he must have something to ask of him. "It's about Tyr. I think you've heard about Tyr's hatred for the green dragon. The master told me that if you can come forward, it will have a positive impact on resolving Tyr's hatred." Attilan's mouth twitched. Does the so-called positive impact mean that he will come forward to provoke, and then be beaten up by the tigress, and gradually weaken the tigress's hatred and obsession with the green dragon by beating up another dragon? "When you bring the pearls back from the halfling town in exchange for food, I can consider it." "Really?" The goat man was very excited. "I see that you handle her affairs more seriously than your own affairs. Don't you like her?" Facing Attilan's teasing, the goat man blushed, even forgetting that there was a dragon in front of him, and shouted, "Don't talk nonsense, be careful or I will fight you to death. The friendship between Tyr and me is pure and flawless." Yes, you are right." Although he said so, Attilan couldn't hide a smile on his face. The love between the goat man and the tiger man is more exciting than the love between a wolf and a goat. Attilan subconsciously wants to push the goat man to pursue the tiger man. "But I have heard that love can resolve hatred. If you can make her feel the true love, I think love can resolve the hatred in the tiger man's heart. So, do you want to try?" The goat man was not bewitched by Attilan's sweet talk. "Stop it, spit out the pearls." Attilan spit out the pearls. Except for a few pearls containing weak water elements, Attilan gave the rest to the goat man. "You took away the biggest pearls. How can the pearl jewelry made in this way still look good? And they are all pink pearls. Don't you think it's a bit too monotonous?" Attilan glared at him unhappily. "It's good to have them. But you're still picking and choosing. These pearls have water elements. I'm thinking if I can make a magic item, but the price will be high. As for the color of the pearls, I'll try to produce some gold, red, black, and blue pearls. The quantity won't be large. After all, things are valuable because they are rare. As long as you add a different colored pearl as the main bead in the pearl jewelry, the price of the jewelry will at least double." The fawn took a breath. "Double?" As expected, the name of the dragon is greed. Attilan snorted disdainfully. "Now we trade with halflings in exchange for food. If we really want to make money, we have to trade with the rich people in the human, elf, and dwarf kingdoms. What's the point of poor people playing with jewelry?" Since Attilan was planning to make luxury goods, he never thought about making money from the poor. The fawn nodded repeatedly. He felt that what Attilan said made sense. Their pearls were also cultivated with great effort, and they had to find jewelry craftsmen to make them. The cost itself was not low. If they sold them cheaply, they might as well do other businesses. "By the way, what are you going to do with your pearl magic item? What else can I do?" "Of course I'll go to my master for help." Attilan said this with confidence. He had such a powerful master. If he didn't use him, wouldn't it be a waste of his apprenticeship? "It has to be you. Do you want me to take you to the centaur tribe?" The centaur waved his hands repeatedly. "No, I'll go by myself. It's just a few pearls and they're not heavy. Don't bother Lord Attilan. You should practice druidism more and try to help wake up Tyr as soon as possible." "Okay, I'll go back to meditate." Druids can mobilize natural energy to nourish their bodies through meditation. The most typical change is that the vitality of druids becomes vigorous. With the help of natural energy, Attilan's size is growing from small to medium. The specific meditation time varies from person to person. Generally, a level 1 druid grows fastest within 1 hour of meditation in a day, and the effect decreases every half hour thereafter. Meditation for 3 hours in a row will have no effect. Druids would not choose this kind of meditation. Instead, they would meditate for an hour and then turn to work on natural balance, patrolling the forest, mediating animal conflicts, and planting trees. After working for 6 or 7 hours, they would meditate for another hour, and the effect of meditation would be almost restored. When Attilan found the bear man with a smile on his face, George knew that his apprentice must have something to ask of him. "Have you done what I asked you to do?" Attilan's body stiffened, and then he smiled and arched his head into the bear man's arms. "Master, I am busy practicing. I have kept everything you told me to do in my heart." The bear man was silent. How could this sea dragon be so shameless? Where did the arrogance of the dragon go? He had seen several elemental dragons, including metal dragons and color dragons. He had never seen such a shameless dragon in his hundreds of years of life. After a long silence, the bear man said, "When you go out in the future, don't mention that you are my apprentice." Attilan blinked. Did he think that he would cause trouble like Sun Wukong and was afraid of implicating himself? "Don't worry, Master. I'm not the kind of dragon who stirs up trouble and is so bold as to poke the sky. I'm not worried about you causing trouble at all." When seeing an enemy stronger than himself, the first reaction is to run away. How can a dragon cause trouble? "I'm afraid that your shamelessness will lose my face." The bear man was roaring in his heart. "Forget it. The apprentice I accepted can only bite the bitter fruit and swallow it. Let's beat him a few more times, which should help stimulate his dragon blood. At least he won't be so shameless, right?" Seeing the bear man nodding his head, Attilan couldn't help but said, "I know that you are the best, Master. I'll leave it to you to make magic props with these pearls." The bear man's eyes widened with anger. "When did I agree to you?" "Master, you nodded, which means you agreed to my request." The bear man was really angry and laughed. "Take out the pearls." After the pearls fell into the bear man's hands, dense vines suddenly emerged from all around and entangled Attilan tightly. Then the bear man's murderous voice rang in his ears. "Since I agreed to your request, you have to do what I asked for today." Holding Attilan wrapped in vines, the bear man came to the tiger man's martial arts training ground in 3 or 2 steps. He saw the tiger man with a slightly ferocious face smash a 3-meter-high stone with a punch, and the exploded stone was only the size of a fist. Attilan's eyes widened. Such excellent penetration power, his dragon scales can't stop it at all. "Master wants him to die." As if he had read Attilan's inner thoughts, the bear man patted the vine ball cheerfully. "With Master here, I won't die." Chapter 9, Dragon and Tiger Fight. After breaking the stone with one punch, the tiger man narrowed his eyes slightly and looked at the embarrassed Attilan. His eyes were full of murderous intent. It was obvious that she regarded Attilan as the imaginary enemy green dragon again. "Isn't this the great ocean dragon? How come you are so embarrassed after not seeing you for a few days? What do you know? Close contact with plants is the best practice for druids. Master is helping me practice. It won't take 15 years, at most 10 years. I can beat you to the ground. You are so powerful. Why don't you practice now?" "I think the monk's fists and feet can also help the practice of druids, right?" The claws with cold light stretched out from the pads, and a white airflow filled with sharp fighting spirit lingered around the slender and graceful body of the tiger man, and finally gathered behind the tiger man to form a roaring tiger head. Looking at the tit-for-tat dragon and tiger, the bear man slowly retreated with a smile on his face, and at the same time, the vines that bound Attilan also quickly retreated with the bear man. Attilan shook his head and wings, flapped his wings and flew into the sky. "Are you ready?" Facing Attilan's question, the tiger man smiled and asked back, "Are you ready?" The tiger man was the one who had the upper hand in the comparison of their strength. It was precisely because of Attilan's embarrassing performance in the previous 2 battles that the tiger man had a trace of arrogance in his heart that he did not even notice, and Attilan's way of winning was to take advantage of the tiger man's contempt for him. Therefore, after the battle, Attilan immediately spit out green acid mist. Attilan did not care how much damage the acid mist could cause to the tiger man. The important thing was that the acid mist could obscure the tiger man's vision and give him time to cast spells. With Attilan's druid level, the attack power of the spells released would naturally not be too high, but it was enough to harass and consume the tiger man's physical strength, and step by step lead the tiger man into the trap set by Attilan. who knew that the Tiger Man spun a tornado on the spot to destroy the parking lot and blew away his acid mist breath, while Attilan only had one root entanglement spell ready. The roots that broke through the soil firmly grasped the Tiger Man's feet. Attilan, who had no time to prepare the thunder wave, could only spit out a slightly less powerful lightning breath to try to delay the Tiger Man's attack. The Tiger Man crossed his hands, and a strong airflow surrounded her body and cut the roots into pieces. At the same time, the lightning breath was also partially dispersed by the monk's unique key, and could not paralyze the Tiger Man's body. The thunder wave was finally ready at this time. The blue-green lightning wave enveloped the Tiger Man. The Tiger Man's fist was wrapped in ki and hit continuously to break all the lightning. If you can only hide in the sky and cast spells, you can't beat me at all, Attilan grinned. Is there a possibility that he never thought of defeating the Tiger Man through direct contact? Fighting also depends on the brain. It's time to teach this stupid Tiger Man a lesson. So what if I'm hiding in the sky? Are you coming up to fight me? Attilan can maneuver flexibly in the air with just a flap of his wings. In order to guard against the sneak attack launched from his mouth, the Tiger Man must always be vigilant and turn his body according to Attilan's movement trajectory. In short, he can't leave his back to Attilan. High concentration consumes physical strength very quickly. The Tiger Man decided to change the stalemate of the confrontation. He used his tail to hook up a piece of stone that she had just broken with her penetration power and volleyed it at the giant dragon in the air. Attilan cleverly evaded with a Z-shaped change. The tiger wanted to shoot him down, wishful thinking. Attilan, this is training. What kind of training effect can you get by hiding in the sky all the time? Do you want me, your master, to personally guide you? Although the bear man's tone was very calm, Attilan heard infinite threats from it. The bear man facilitated this fierce battle between the dragon and the tiger. The Tiger Man was only a small part. The main point was to let Attilan focus on improving his strength. Originally, the bear man was worried that he would overstimulate the dragon's strong self-esteem, but the scene just now has made him face the reality. His apprentice is thick enough to resist the 9th level spell. Without the stimulation of the Tiger Man who has a grudge, he is afraid that he will devote himself to conquering his followers and launching the imperial hegemony. How can he observe the changes in the practice of the ocean dragon druid and make his druid realm further? Although he is already a legendary druid, the gap between legends is not inferior to the gap between humans and dragons. The bear man has a pursuit of the druid way. Without observing the ocean dragon, he can only rely on time to balance nature and communicate with the emerald dream to improve himself. The bear man does not know whether he can touch the highest achievement of the druid way before the end of his life. Natural demigod. The bear man does not covet the immortality brought by the natural demigod. The druid values the honor brought by the identity of the natural demigod. Only by having a deep enough understanding of the natural phenomena and making a great enough contribution to nature can the druid condense divinity and be promoted to the natural demigod. People should have dreams. Even though the gap between the bear man and the natural demigod is about the same as that between the young dragon and the ancient dragon, the bear man still feels that he has hope. The bear man told him to fight hand to hand, and Attilan had to show his support. A mouthful of acid mist sprayed at the Tiger Man, and Attilan took the opportunity to get into the acid mist and quickly approached the Tiger Man, but he did not attack with his claws, but used his tail to strike and hammer when he crossed. The powerful impact of the dive was released to the Tiger Man through the tail. In order to understand the gap between himself and the dragon, the Tiger Man did not hide, but chose to catch the dragon's tail hammer. As expected, the Tiger Man was directly knocked away by the huge force. She didn't know that Attilan's tail hammer, which fell from the sky, relied not only on Attilan's own strength, but also on the acceleration of gravity when falling. Therefore, the dragon's most powerful melee attack is not fangs, claws, and tail hammer, but the body that falls from the sky after the size grows to a certain extent. Not only is the range wide, but the lethality is also great. Attilan has been training for the past few days on this tail hammer that falls from the sky, but this move cannot be considered his trump card. Looking at the Tiger Man who flew out and smashed the equipment in the training ground into pieces, Attilan narrowed his eyes slightly and said with murderous intent, "Tiger Man, you look down on me too much? You didn't even dodge my attack. Do you really think my attack can't hurt you?" The Tiger Man climbed up and spat out a mouthful of blood, wiped the remaining blood from the corner of his mouth, and showed her claws with excitement. "As long as you fight, you will be injured, but attacks that can't kill me will only make me stronger. No trick can work twice in front of me." With a loud tiger roar, Tyr turned into a phantom and rushed towards Attilan, who was stranded on the ground. This time Attilan did not take off again. He was so angry that he used the druid spell to cast a layer of wooden armor on himself and rushed towards the tiger man with the same roar. Dragons are not ordinary creatures. Their bodies can perfectly replicate the inherited fighting moves in their memories. Attilan has been studying how to use these skills to defeat the tiger man in the past 10 days. These dragons are more like cats than lizards. The fight between the dragon and the tiger in front of them is more like two big cats fighting, with fangs biting and claws attacking, and the final sweep of the tail. Attilan has one more wing hammer than the tiger man, which is an advantage, but it is slightly inferior to the monk skills that the tiger man has studied hard and turned into instinct. The attacks of the two continued to cause wounds on each other, and the dragon's fighting skills were quickly turning into Attilan's instincts, which made the bear man nod repeatedly. Only by fighting can the inherited memory be turned into one's own thing. The foundation must be laid in the dragon stage. Otherwise, even if Attilan's strength increases, he can only rely on strength to crush, and he cannot defeat the strong with the weak. Please comment, please read, please reward, please everything. Chapter 10, Love is Enough. After fighting for nearly 10 minutes, the claws of the dragon and the tiger collided, and both were pushed back by the huge force. The tiger man gasped loudly and said with a ferocious smile, "The dragon is just like this." Attilan looked at the tiger man with sarcasm. "I am just a young dragon, and your enemy is an adult green dragon. Even if you beat me, you can't beat him with your brain." Attilan used the last druid spell slot to cast a spell to heal his injuries. The green light faded, and there were still many wounds on Attilan's body, but he did not continue to cast spells to heal. The tiger man knew what was going on at a glance. "Your spells are used up. How many ways can your wisdom bring you to defeat me?" The tiger man's words could not shake Attilan, who looked at him with contempt. "My spells are gone. How much energy do you have left? If you want to defeat an adult dragon, this little energy is not enough." Sure enough, Attilan's sarcasm was more professional and hit the tiger man's pain point directly. "Even if I only have one last breath left, I can still defeat you. Even if I have no breath left, I can kill him with my teeth and claws." With a strong hatred for the green dragon, the tiger man gathered the last breath in her fist. She must defeat this hateful dragon with this punch. The tiger man just rushed forward 2 steps, and was suddenly caught by the ankle by the roots that rolled out from the ground, breaking the balance of the body. The tiger man's expression became a little ugly. Even though she quickly adjusted her offensive posture, Attilan had already taken advantage of her distraction to get rid of the roots and flapped his wings to fly into the sky. "Did you expect that I could still cast spells?" The druid spell slots were used up, but the dragon's body was filled with magic power. Attilan had already mastered the ability to use magic power to cast some spells in these days of training. These included root entanglement and healing of minor injuries. At this moment, flying into the sky, Attilan's body was once again wrapped in the green light of the healing spell. Even if using their own magic, druids can also leverage some of the natural energy of the surrounding environment to reduce combat consumption, so Attilan did not use the pure self-consuming innate spell Water of Life. Attilan had already flown into the sky, and the tiger man still leaped up like a cannonball this time, almost hitting Attilan's abdomen with her fist. The reason why she almost did so was because a vine suddenly emerged from the forest and entangled the tiger man's feet. With a hand knife, the tiger man cut off the vine and fell to the ground with an ugly face. "Is this a creeper?" The bear man noticed the creeper that kept approaching early in the morning, but the creeper was stained with the breath of Attilan's lightning breath, so he knew that the creeper must be related to his shameless apprentice. Most druids would find animals such as wolves and eagles as animal companions, and the more powerful ones would choose tigers, bears, crocodiles, giant squids, etc. Few people would think of taming a shambling monster as a companion. Using thunder waves to stimulate the shambling monster and feed it with food, and then using animal friendship to increase intimacy, it seems that it is really possible to tame the shambling monster. This kid is indeed quite clever. If this method is promoted, the combat effectiveness of low-level druids will be significantly improved. When defending the balance of nature, the number of low-level druids injured or even killed will be reduced a lot. It is just that relying on shambling monsters is not good for the growth of druids, and there are not so many shambling monsters in the forest for druids to tame. Natural energy gathers in the vines, and then with the help of fairy magic and lightning to activate the shambling monsters. The greed for food will tend to make the shambling monsters become destroyers of the balance of nature. The shambling monster tamed by Attilan seems to be a little different from ordinary shambling monsters. The body is more slender than ordinary shambling monsters, and there is no rotten smell brought by the accumulation of rotten things and vines entangled together. The speed of movement is also quite fast. How did this kid transform the shambling monster? The bear man narrowed his eyes and carefully observed this unique creeper. The creeper used vines to entangle the tiger man, and Attilan released lightning breath in the sky. The tiger man who was entangled by the creeper could not avoid the lightning at all, and the feeling of paralysis and pain was intertwined. The tiger man tried to cut the vines with her hand knife, but as she cut, she felt that the creeper was getting more and more excited, and the speed of the vines was also increasing. If she continued to fight like this, she would definitely lose. She must get rid of this damn creeper as soon as possible and defeat the more damn dragon. Attilan, what's so great about hiding in the sky? If you have the guts, come down and fight me. Attilan floated lazily in the air. Sorry, it's really great to be able to fly. Tiger man, don't be idle, come up and play with us. No way, no way, someone can't even do a simple flight, and still wants to fight a dragon. The mockery between the words was full, and the tiger man's eyes were red. For the first time, her anger towards the ocean dragon exceeded that of the green dragon that slaughtered her family. The roar of anger resounded through the heaven and earth, and the birds 10 miles away were circling in panic in the air. The tiger man was furious, and was entangled by the creepers. Lightning breath and thunder waves were released alternately. Attilan pretended to be leisurely and kept provoking him with words in the air. The tiger man was finally furious, and he spurted out a mouthful of old blood. He fainted when his eyes went black. The green branches broke through the soil and supported the tiger man. The bear woman stepped forward to release life energy to heal the tiger man's injuries. The tiger man was seriously injured, but the resentment that was pressing on her heart was at least half released today. The tiger man will recover after half a month of recuperation, and his key training will surely improve rapidly afterwards. After curing the tiger man, the bear man focused on Attilan, who was lying on the ground like a dead dog. You were very impressive just now, why are you not doing it now? Attilan turned his head weakly. Master, don't laugh at me. Let the green light shine on me. I am also seriously injured. As a result, the bear man only recovered part of his physical strength and energy. You are a druid. Now is a good time for you to practice. Druids have a close relationship with the realm of life. If you can comprehend it yourself, the master will not force you to grow. Force you to grow? Master, listen to what you are saying. If you don't want to treat me, just say it directly. Why bother to be picky about words like other monks and use the wrong idioms? The bear man felt a little embarrassed and rummaged around in his pocket again, and threw a herbal bag to Attilan. This is for you. It's just right for your practice after you eat it. After eating the bitter herbal bag, Attilan looked at the creepers that looked at him like a puppy, and endured his fatigue to give him a water of life. After swallowing the water of life, the creepers turned back into dense vines entwined around a big tree, slowly absorbing the energy in the water of life. Attilan also lay under the big tree and began to meditate and absorb natural energy, which not only healed his injuries, but also increased his druid cultivation. 2 hours passed like this, and Attilan woke up from hunger. During this period, because of his growing appetite, the ecological chain of the forest had become a little unstable, and Attilan could no longer kill people. Relying on the digestive ability of a dragon's stomach to eat dirt? Of course not. As a noble dragon, Attilan would never allow himself to eat dirt. If the tiger woman knew about it, she would definitely laugh at him for the rest of his life. Attilan could only drag his hungry stomach slowly into the water, and then start to inhale violently. Eating dirt will be laughed at, but drinking water is different. Who cannot drink water? He just drank a little more. When Attilan burped and came ashore, the fishman who was building a river clam field thought that the water level had dropped a little today. The fishman rubbed his eyes and looked again. The water level seemed to have not changed. Please comment, please read, please reward, please everything. Chapter 11 Breath of Life. After drinking a full cup of water and getting ashore, Attilan simply found a tree on the shore to continue meditating and digesting the growth brought by this battle. In the past, he would feel full after meditating for 2 hours a day. Today, it seemed that his Ren and Du meridians were opened. His dragon body had absorbed natural energy for 2 hours and was still not satisfied. He felt that he could absorb it for another 2 hours. When he became a druid, he got 4 level 1 spell slots, while others only had 2. He thought it was special for dragons, but when he was meditating, he gradually discovered the difference between himself and others. Even for dragons, according to the bear man, the efficiency of meditation is getting lower and lower, but the longer he meditates, the more natural energy he draws. After meditating for 2 hours, the fragile dragon body of the young dragon could not withstand the huge natural energy approaching. This creeper was the place where he often meditated, helping him share the natural energy. Because the vines were resistant to thunder, he used them to test the power changes of lightning breath. Sometimes when the vines were severely burned by lightning, Attilan would give them a shot of water of life, and then the creeper was born unknowingly. Attilan's abilities were far more amazing than the bear man had expected. Attilan didn't know that soon after the bear man healed him and walked away, an unnoticed crow landed on a treetop not far from him, silently watching him in meditation, and finally followed him to the lake. Witnessing his feat of drinking water to satisfy his hunger, his scarlet eyes were full of smiles. With Attilan's breathing, strands of life breath spread in the forest. When the warm sunlight shone on these life breaths, a tiny light spirit was slowly born. This was not the first light spirit created by the life breath exhaled by Attilan during meditation. This little man shining with various colors was a not very smart fey creature. They had 4 wings and were not much bigger than dragonflies. When a group of light spirits gathered together, they had good wisdom as if they shared a brain. As an archdruid, the bear man naturally tried to breed the spirits in this forest that he cultivated bit by bit. These natural spirits are the best symbol of the vitality of the forest. In the end, he still failed. That's right, the bear man didn't even breed the simplest light spirit, let alone the more special spirit creatures such as the goblins and pixies. Of course, the bear man who didn't give up still introduced a lot of spirit creatures from other forests and the Feywilds to make up for his regret. Originally, he didn't always observe when Attilan was meditating, until 3 days ago, he found that there was suddenly a strange light spirit settlement in the forest. Tracing back to the source, the bear man found that Attilan's life breath had increased again. He observed Attilan meditating, not because he wanted to know how to create spirit creatures, but mainly because he was worried that Attilan would have an accident when meditating. Out of the master's concern for his apprentice, he kept watching. After seeing Attilan's life breath for the first time, the bear man has actually been studying how to exhale the same breath of life. He has already got some clues. When the research results are achieved, the bear man's legendary level should be able to rise by 1 level. This ability to make flowers bloom and trees sprout with a breath should not appear in a young sea dragon. Even the natural demigod that the bear man pursues has almost the same effect when breathing. Could it be that the perfect compatibility between sea dragons and druids, coupled with the boy's extraordinary talent, has sublimated the embryonic form of a weak natural divinity? He didn't seem to detect the pure energy of the divine power level in Attilan's body. The more special Attilan's ability is, the more necessary it is for the bear man to let him stay in the forest for a few more years. Here, he can also use the natural breath to cover up his unique breath. Not to mention the distance, if the dragon 800 miles away knew that there was a sea dragon like Attilan, it is hard to guarantee that it would not have some ideas. There are ways to seize the power of gods and become gods, let alone seize a sea dragon. The bear man knew that Attilan could not hide forever, but before being exposed, he hoped that Attilan could have the power to protect himself. George flapped his wings, and a great ambition came to his heart. If he could understand Attilan's secrets about nature and life, he might be able to become a natural demigod, and then he would have the power to protect his apprentice. The water of life is to gather Attilan's innate ability into a stream of water that can restore vitality and mana, and the breath of life is to spread this power to form a field, promoting the growth of life in the area without distinction. Not only the light spirit, but even the special creeping monster should be a new species born under this life field. It can no longer be considered a creeping monster, and it is more appropriate to call it a creeping spirit. Attilan's breath of life has begun to affect the forest, but he, the initiator, knows nothing about it. When he first saw it, the bear man did not tell Attilan, because he did not want him to be proud and complacent. He had just entered the druid way, and it was not suitable for him to study this ability that even legendary druids could not understand. If Attilan could feel the changes himself, the bear man did not need to say it. If he could not feel it, he would not understand it even if he told him. If he really understood, he did not need to say it. Today, Attilan bravely fought head-on. George felt that he had to praise his brave behavior. A dragon can't just think about running away. It must take action when it's time. It's not just the body that is growing, but the mind is still a child. Of course, the bear man can be sure that Attilan is not like a child at all. He doesn't have the purity that a child should have, although this thing is rare in a dragon. Shaking his head, the bear man stopped thinking about Attilan's spiritual problems. He changed from a crow to a shark and fell into the water. Soon he came ashore with a big blue fish in his mouth. When Attilan opened his eyes, he saw the bear man grilling fish in front of him. In fact, he didn't need to open his eyes. He had already smelled the fragrance of the big blue fish. The hateful master kept fanning the fragrance towards him. Fortunately, Attilan's concentration was strong enough, and he persisted until the meditation was over before coming up. "Master, where's the grilled fish? Eat it, it's specially grilled for you." The craftsmanship is no worse than Mep. The master suddenly treated him so well. And Attilan was really a little uncomfortable. "This is really for me." Well, not only for letting Tyr vent his resentment, but also for you daring to charge at an opponent stronger than you. Attilan took a bite of the grilled fish and retorted unhappily, "Master, what do you mean by stronger than me? You saw her performance today. Besides having random outbursts, what else can she do? By the way, she can also brag." The bear man waved his hand to tell him to stop talking. "If I give you a lingering monster, can you transform it into the same as the one you raised today?" Attilan scratched his face awkwardly, and after hesitating for a moment, he still said with a brave face, "How about I try?" "Okay, since you have bred the first one, you should have the ability to breed the second one. If you can't do it, it means you don't understand your own abilities and the characteristics of lingering monsters well enough. As a druid, do you think you are qualified?" "Master, is there a possibility that not only have I just become a druid for 10 days? I have also been born less than half a month ago? I'm still just a child. Don't be frivolous. Think carefully about which abilities of yours created the lingering monster, and what role did they play in the gestation process. Write it down on tree bark, no less than 1,000 words. I will check it tomorrow." Chapter 12. We don't play with noobs. The bear man turned into a giant owl and left, leaving only Attilan's dragon gnawing on the grilled fish in distress. It must be said that the bear man's cooking skills are even better than the goat man. Obviously, the goat man is a hedonistic race. It is true that any legend should not be underestimated. Even in terms of life skills, they are far beyond ordinary people. After eating the grilled fish, Attilan began to think about the homework left by the bear man. The birth of the creeping spirit should be the result of the combined effects of natural magic, lightning breath, and water of life. It is full of coincidences. Even if Attilan wants to replicate it, he doesn't know where to find a suitable target. He chose a node where natural magic gathered, and the vines were nourished for a long time. He just played a catalytic role. After thinking about it carefully, Attilan thought that if he wanted to figure out the factors affecting the birth of creeping spirits, he still had to do experiments. Because the forest was naturally harmoniously governed by the bear man, the great druid, Attilan couldn't find a wild creeping monster to experiment with. Because all evil plants that destroy the balance of nature will be dealt with by the bear man as soon as they are born, or even before they are born. First of all, Attilan needs to find a magic plant suitable for experiments, preferably one that is about to take shape, but not yet formed, so that he has a certain space to display his power, but it will not cause too much damage to the magic plant. According to the information he has obtained from exploring the forest during this period, there are actually several tree people in the forest who have not yet awakened. If they are stimulated with lightning breath and water of life, can they speed up the awakening of the tree people? Shaking his head to get rid of this idea, if the foundation of the tree people is damaged and the tree people cannot awaken, even if the master will not kill him, he will inevitably be picked up and beaten. The tree people of the old bear cannot be moved, but not all areas in the forest belong to the old bear head. For example, the centaur tribe in the southwest, the goblin village in the northwest, and the forest leopard tribe in the northeast, they all have a certain degree of autonomy over their activity areas. Last time when he went to the centaur tribe to drink, Attilan seemed to notice that there was a tree deep in the tribe that seemed a little different from ordinary trees. On the trunk of the tree were many sacrificial totems, weapons of ancestors, and trophies carved by many centaurs. The strong centaur aura covered the aura of the tree. That tree should be the sacred tree of the centaurs. The centaurs would not agree to him using lightning breath on the tree, right? Not should, but definitely not. If he did so, he would definitely offend the centaurs to death. Whether it would work or not, he still had to ask first. Even if he couldn't experiment, at least let him explore the situation of the sacred tree and collect a piece of information on magic plants, so that his thesis would have more data support. Attilan flew to the centaur tribe, and the Horse King frowned at him in confusion and asked, "The caravan has already set off. Do you have any problems coming here now? Do you need me to catch up with the caravan to inform them?" Attilan approached the Horse King with a shy smile, but when he saw his smile, the Horse King retreated 3 feet away. "If you have something to say, just say it. Don't get so close. It's like this. My master gave me an assignment. I want to see your sacred tree and collect some information about magic plants. Your sacred tree should be a tree man, right?" Hearing Attilan's words, the Horse King sighed. "Since my father led the tribe to migrate to the forest more than 100 years ago, my father chose this oak tree with magic power as our sacred tree. My father believes that the sacred tree will be enlightened and will awaken to become a tree man sooner or later. At that time, the safety of the tribe will be guaranteed, but more than 100 years have passed, and the sacred tree still has no signs of awakening. I even suspect that our actions have affected the awakening of the sacred tree." Attilan's eyes turned. "Isn't this the opportunity? Horse King, I have a talent spell that is very helpful for the growth of magic plants. How about I help take a look?" Trying to suppress his expectations, Attilan waited for the Horse King's answer. "I need to ask the priest. You come too." Attilan didn't expect that he could see another druid in the forest. The bear man said that he was sent by the Natural Council, but a great druid actually planted a forest by himself. Because the bear man asked him to plant trees, meditate, and observe the balance of the ecological chain in the forest, he wanted to ask other druids for advice on cultivation experience, but he turned around and didn't see a single druid. Attilan thought that the old centaur priest in front of him would be a priest, but it turned out to be the most common druid in the forest, but it turned out to be the rarest druid. Attilan hurriedly approached enthusiastically. "Senior, I finally see you." Looking at Attilan with tears in his eyes, the old man was full of doubts. When did he become so popular, and the enthusiasm of a dragon druid? "What do you want?" The old man didn't think that their tribe had anything worth a dragon druid's attention. Attilan recounted the hardships and difficulties he had gone through during this period, and the old man asked in confusion, "Since you are Master Geoge's disciple, why didn't the master bring you to the druid gathering 3 days ago?" Attilan was stunned for a moment. "What? Druid gathering? Did I really hear it right? Senior, do you mean that besides you, there are actually other druids in the forest?" The old man nodded and explained, "Some of us have tribal heritage, some are inspired by nature, and some passed by this forest while traveling. Everyone stayed because of the guidance of Master Geoge, and a gathering is held once a month under the leadership of the master. So, you don't want to take me to play, right? Then why didn't I see you guys when I was practicing in the forest? And why didn't I see you guys the last time I came to the centaur tribe?" The old man was puzzled. "When did you come?" "The bonfire party the day before yesterday." "Oh, that might be because I went to attend the druid gathering." "When did you start the gathering?" As soon as the old man said the time, Attilan gritted his teeth and looked in the direction of the tree of life. It turned out that he was sent out to plant trees first, and then the druid gathering was held immediately. Damn it, how could I have such a master? Why did I become his disciple in the first place? Wait a minute. It seems that he didn't volunteer to become his disciple in the first place. Okay, no problem. Back to the topic just now, Attilan looked at the old man curiously. "Senior, why can't I find other druids?" The old horse said with a smile. "It's just a trick between druids. They usually like to disguise themselves as various animals or even plants. They don't have the breath of druids at all. Only druids who can see through their disguises will communicate with each other." Then the old horse smiled and looked at Attilan calmly. Attilan took a deep breath and suppressed the resentment in his heart. "I understand. High-level druids don't play with novices. A novice druid like him with a natural breath will not pay attention to him, even if he is a disciple of Geoge." Seeing that the atmosphere was a bit stiff, the Horse King quickly spoke to smooth things over. "Priest, Attilan said that he has a gifted spell that may help the sacred tree awaken." "Look," the old horse nodded thoughtfully. "He said that Master Geoge would accept such a stupid apprentice. It turned out that he had good talent. It's just that this comprehension is really a bit poor." Seeing the subtle changes in the old man's eyes, Attilan really wanted to bite this old man to death. I don't know the rules of your game, but I'm not stupid. Please reward, please read, please comment, please everything. Chapter 13, Guard, Power to Rival the Dragon. I can let you try using the Water of Life spell ability, but trying to activate it with lightning breath is impossible. The old centaur's attitude was very resolute. No matter what Attilan said, the stubborn old man would not agree. He would not believe the poor excuse that the Water of Life must be used with lightning breath to play its full role. Since he couldn't persuade the old stubborn man, Attilan could only follow him to the holy tree to collect information about the Enlightenment Tree Man, give him a shot of Water of Life as a reward, and then fly away. Senior, I will come again tomorrow. The Centaur tribe is Attilan's next long-term partner. Giving a little magic and time to their holy tree will help to get closer to them, and using the Water of Life alone can also be regarded as a reference group. There is definitely no reference group that uses lightning breath alone. Attilan feels that he has to find another tree suitable for meditation and nourish the tree with the excess natural energy gathered during meditation. As for the samples of natural energy, lightning breath, and Water of Life, he can only choose the creeping spirit. Attilan knew that his master had asked him to write a paper on the birth of creeping spirits and said that it would be handed in tomorrow just to urge him to study. How could such a difficult topic produce results in one day? Today's training goal is not to figure out what positive effects these factors have on plants, but what effects these three abilities he has. Only by understanding the effects of the abilities can Attilan analyze specifically which effect is effective. For example, does the Water of Life increase the vitality of the vines, or does it change the nature of the vines so that the vines retain more magic? Or maybe the Water of Life actually has other effects that he has not discovered. Replenishing health and mana is only a combat effect. Attilan can only try a little bit to see how it works. The next morning, what woke Attilan was the honey-roasted wild boar meat brought by the bear man. How is the information I asked for? Here, calmly handing the bark paper to the bear man, Attilan picked up the honey-roasted pork and began to chew it in big and elegant mouthfuls. If he didn't eat it now, he might not have the chance to eat it after the bear man finished reading his paper. In the first paragraph, Attilan wrote about his analysis of the factors that affect the birth of creeping spirits. In addition to the three known conditions, he did not rule out other factors, and attached the data of his experiment on creeping spirits yesterday. Then there's the analysis of the effectiveness of single spells. The experimental data still occupies a large part of the text. Although it is a bit unconventional, Attilan still randomly selected a lucky tree. He tried to transform the tree into lightning wood with lightning breath, but the power was not great. Attilan was also afraid that the tree would be killed by a single breath. Even if it failed, the tree could leave with peace of mind, because before the lightning struck, Attilan had broken off its branches and planted them in other places, so that it would not die completely. After reading the information on the bark paper, the bear man knew that Attilan was concerned, but hard work alone was not enough. After reading the whole article, he seemed to have not seen any results of his efforts. His slightly narrowed eyes revealed a murderous aura, and the bear man rolled up the bark paper and pointed at Attilan. Is this how you bluff me? Attilan ate the barbecue calmly. Master, this is all I can do in one day. Give me a few more days. I may not be able to summarize the birth method of creeping spirits, but I think I may be able to awaken a tree man. The bear man snorted coldly. The seeds I gave you to have the opportunity to breed enlightened tree men, but it takes time for their bodies to become strong enough. Only strong enough trees can awaken qualified tree men. The combat power of each qualified tree man even exceeds that of a giant of the same size. It is already difficult to go from a big tree with magic power to an enlightened tree man. Attilan actually boasted that he could cultivate a tree man. He worked in this forest for 200 years, and he only cultivated one tree man. It was the natural council that helped to transfer an enlightened tree man to the center of the forest, and it took a full 100 years to gather natural energy. This tree man finally completed his awakening. The oak seeds he gave Attilan were the descendants of this tree man. Of course not the ones I planted, but the big trees in the forest that have become enlightened tree people. I think they just lack a little stimulation, such as their magic is not pure enough, their vitality is not surging enough, and their hearts are not complete enough. He didn't know what the other enlightened tree people lacked, but the one from the Centaur tribe lacked all three of these. What do you plan to do? Just like cultivating creeping spirits, meditation, lightning breath, and Water of Life. If it doesn't work, do it again. Did the creeping spirits awaken after being chopped by me for several days? The bear man frowned. and after a moment of silence, he said, "Well, let's go directly to the oak guard to ask his opinion." Following the bear man to the tree of life, when an old face appeared on the trunk, although Attilan had long expected that this tree was not simple, he was still a little surprised. This face was so big that it could eat him in one bite. "What's wrong, Jorge?" The bear man told the tree man about the matter and then proposed an idea. "Since it is helpful to the enlightened treeman, it should not be completely useless to you. Let you try it first. If it is really effective, then promote it to the enlightened treeman. Anyway, your bark is thick and you can't be killed by chopping. What do you think of my idea?" "No problem." Although the treeman can communicate with his children implicitly through the dreams woven by the forest, he still hopes that the children can wake up and become treemen early. The enlightened treeman can only passively absorb the energy gathered naturally from the earth veins and other channels, or the druids can guide the energy irrigation. The treeman is different. Not only does it have the ability to resist risks, but it can also actively absorb energy to speed up its growth. For example, he became an enlightened treeman for 300 years before he grew to 60 meters, and he grew to more than 100 meters after awakening for more than 100 years, although the top is relatively fragile hair. But it looks completely different. Who dares to provoke such a behemoth? And he is not an ordinary treeman. After receiving hundreds of years of training from Gauge, he has become the elite among the treemen, the Oak Guardian. Treemen with this title are all strong men who can fight against adult dragons. It just so happens that I haven't moved my body for a long time." As he spoke, the ground shook. The tree man just pulled out his roots from the ground and caused an uproar. His huge body blocked the sunlight like a mountain and formed a huge shadow. The sky darkened suddenly. Looking at the tree man's branches gathered into arms several meters thick, Attilan swallowed subconsciously. The challenge level of this oak guard is definitely more than 9. If he were to take a hit, he would become Attilan. To be honest, Attilan envied Gauge. If he had two such majestic tree men, one on the left and one on the right standing beside him when he grew up, they would be the best left and right protectors. What fishman tribe? The whole tribe would be gone with one punch. Attilan decided that if his magic could work on the tree man, he would cultivate his own oak guard from today. Chapter 14. No more, not a drop left. Attilan flew back and forth around the oak guard 3 times, carefully admiring this tree man whose fighting power was comparable to that of a legendary druid, and then comparing the difference between the oak guard and the enlightened tree man. Because tree men are very important fighting partners of druids, all enlightened tree men will be carefully taken care of by druids. Before they awaken, druids will use their own methods to hide the traces of enlightened tree men. The druids of the forest made it clear that without him, a novice who could not hide the aura of druids, playing together, he could only judge the location of the enlightened tree men in the forest through the natural energy flow veins he sensed during meditation. Attilan, try your lightning breath for me twice first. I'm here and I won't leave. There's time for you to watch slowly. I'm busy if you go around like this. The tree man's muffled voice sounded like thunder, and the bear man laughed and exposed his old secrets. When he was young, he fought with a wyvern. He couldn't hit it with his arm hammer or his stone. Instead, the wyvern flew around him and its fire breath burned his back black. There are still traces of it now. After the lightning breath is over, you can use the water of life to treat him. The tree man wanted to expose the bear man's weakness, but he held back when he heard that Gauge asked Attilan to treat his back. Although the wyvern's neck was finally broken by his punch, the dragon with red dragon blood had a fire breath that was a mixture of red dragon flames and dragon toxins. The resentment from the soul before death and the poisonous fire curse that issued the last blow left an indelible damage to the tree man's back, which was still relatively immature at the time. This scar on the back has become the tree man's weakness. Since the water of life has created an unprecedented creeping spirit, the bear man believes that it should be helpful to dispel the dragon's resentment. Attilan was not aware of the layout of the forest. The vines that gave birth to creeping monsters actually have certain characteristics of accommodating negative energy. Natural energy circulates back and forth to gather the negative energy of the forest and the vines, and finally creeping monsters are born. Then the bear man or other druids will come forward to eliminate the creeping monsters. Attilan first flew to the back of the tree man, and indeed found a piece of bark that was darker than other areas. He could still faintly sense resentment. He immediately pressed a shot of water of life on it. It works. The bear man keenly noticed that the resentment was weakened a little bit. It seems that the effect of water of life is not only recovery, but also purification. The life mist released by the ocean dragon's breath will enhance the vitality of life, and purify negative energy, so that life will not be easily affected and degenerate into chaos and evil. Master, how about trying lightning breath? I think thunder is more effective in removing resentment. The bear man frowned. Attilan's use of lightning breath to attack the tree man's weakness would not cause too much damage to the tree man. It was just right to test the effect of lightning breath on the tree man at one time. Try the normal area first, then the area affected by the resentment. What do you think, Yulu? I have no problem, but can Xiaolong's physical strength support such a long test? Facing the scrutinizing eyes of the bear and the tree, Attilan raised his head indignantly. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? Can a few lightning breaths drain me? A lightning breath hit the trunk of the tree man, and the tree man scratched it with his hand. It's just a little itchy, Xiaolong, use some force, your lightning can't even penetrate my bark. Attilan took a deep breath, and with the anger of being looked down upon, he spit out the most powerful lightning breath in his life, finally making the tree man let out a long moan. The numbness feels so good. The tree man's perception ability is not as good as the druid's. The bear man is trying to perceive the changes in the natural magic in the tree man's body, but the tree man is enjoying the rare numbness. Attilan, do it again, mobilizing the magic power in his body. Attilan, who was seriously accumulating power, once again used the brilliant silver-white fierce thunder. The collision between the tree man's life magic and the thunder produced a weak reaction. Do it again, continuously using this breath that exceeded the normal power of the dragon. Even if Attilan was still a druid, he felt that his recovery speed was almost unable to keep up. Attilan decided to extend the charging time to buy himself some time to recover his physical strength and magic. The bear man frowned and urged when he didn't see Attilan's breath after the charging time was over. Where's the breath? Because he had to control the influencing factors, the bear man would not mobilize natural magic to help Attilan, and he guessed that only the power of the ocean dragon itself could bring about changes. An external power would not help the experiment. Besides, squeezing Attilan would also help the growth of the dragon. Attilan blindly began to pursue followers even though he still had a lot of potential in his body that had not been tapped. The bear man hoped that through today's experiment, Attilan would understand that only when the power belongs to oneself can great achievements be achieved. The oak guard is considered powerful in this forest, but looking at the entire continent, or even the entire plain, it is just a small role. Attilan can't even do anything to him, so he should understand his own insignificance. Don't pursue the establishment of your own empire at an inappropriate time. In short, the bear man deliberately didn't help, and deliberately urged Attilan to speed up. It only takes a period of waiting and accumulating power for the dragon to spit out dragon breath, and there is no limit to the number of times. The dragon will bring extra consumption to speed up this process. If Attilan can draw out his potential, this kind of breath with the power of a young dragon can be used 10 times a day. After 3 dragon breaths fell, Attilan slowly fell to the ground, half meditating to mobilize the surrounding natural force to eliminate the fatigue of his body. The stimulation brought to the tree man's body by the 3 lightning dragon breaths was so obvious that the tree man himself noticed the change. He touched the part hit by the lightning. The natural magic seems to have been purified. One more time, Attilan gritted his teeth and mobilized his magic to speed up the recovery of his breath. After spitting lightning again, he could no longer hide his fatigue. Lightning struck, and soon a sprout grew out. Sprout? What's the use of it? Try to irrigate the sprout with the water of life and see if it can bring more changes to Gulu. Attilan's body froze. In order to use the dragon's breath, his physical strength and magic power had been exhausted, so how could he use the water of life? This is your talent, the same as the dragon's breath. As long as you want, you can use it without magic. Attilan held his breath and slowly absorbed the natural energy around him and converted it into his magic power. Then he used magic power to create a ball of water of life and dropped it on the sprout. Don't convert magic power, just use the water of life. Faced with a bear man's instructions, Attilan could only bite the bullet and try. The speed of condensing the water of life was very slow, and Attilan still used magic power unconsciously. The bear man shook his head. Although Attilan did not take the initiative to train, he would gradually master the ability to create the sea of life when he entered adolescence 50 years later, but while the young dragon period had just awakened and was still in a sensitive period, Attilan had the opportunity to raise the upper limit of this ability higher. Dragons that rely on their bloodline for everything and grow passively cannot live to the stage of ancient dragons. Georgie has very high requirements for Attilan, his direct disciple. Balls of water of life were irrigated to the tender shoots, and finally the tender shoots grew into small branches. Attilan's physical strength, magic power, and energy have reached their limits. Attilan was lying on the ground with a dazed look in his eyes. Now he really didn't have a drop of energy. He couldn't lift his claws, and his tail no longer swung. Stand up, now is the critical moment to temper your will and break the limit, the bear man gave Attilan a stern order. It was his limit to be a natural demigod in his life, but Attilan was different. The bear man believed that he should be able to go further. The elemental dragon god has fallen. As a sea dragon among the elemental dragons, Attilan naturally has more possibilities than color and metal dragons. Please read, comment, reward, and everything. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 15 The Murloc Who Shocked the Dragon. Attilan's two front paws trembled, and he supported his body with difficulty to sit up and adjust to a sitting posture to start meditating. Every cell in his body greedily devoured the natural force. Using willpower to fight against a weak body, the bear man could not provide help to his apprentice. He just silently mobilized the natural energy of the forest to the vicinity so that Attilan could absorb it more easily. This training for Attilan was not on the plan, but it was necessary. The tempering of his character in his childhood would increase Attilan's upper limit. He must be well prepared so that Attilan can seize the opportunity when it comes, and the lifespan of the elemental dragon of more than 3,000 years gives him enough time to wait for the opportunity to come. In addition, the dragon has an advanced profession called the Dragon of Conferred Gods. When the dragon upgrades the Dragon of Conferred Gods profession to the highest level 12, the dragon will become an immortal quasi-god. At that time, Attilan's fault tolerance rate will be very high. Changing to the Dragon of Conferred Gods is not only to obtain immortal characteristics, Attilan believes that it will also be helpful for the later Conferred Gods, as a protective film for himself, so that he will have higher control when igniting the divine fire. It is too early for Attilan to think about deification now. Of course, it is better to make a plan in advance than to have no plan. After the establishment of the natural empire, it will be a stable source of faith for Attilan. But Attilan really has no energy to pay attention to the Fishman tribe, because Attilan has been tempering the nightmare of using lightning breath to irrigate the oak garden with the water of life for 15 days. Do you know how he spent these 15 days? Every day, he poured all his strength on the tree man, leaving not a drop, and then sat down tremblingly to meditate to recover, and then adjusted himself and continued to temper the tree man. The bear man is not a devil. It is impossible for Attilan to not give him any rest time. There are 2 hours every day to go out for a walk, solve the hunger in the stomach, look at the picturesque scenery of the forest to soothe the nerves, and take the time to throw 2 wild boars or giant lizards to the Fishman tribe. So far, it has reached the limit. Go back and have a good sleep. Attilan will continue to comb the nature tomorrow. Hearing the bear man's words, Attilan's eyes were filled with tears. He was finally free. 15 days of tempering is not the limit of the tree man, but the limit of Attilan. The bear man accurately judged his physical condition and let him rest for 1 or 2 months to digest the accumulation during this period before continuing. When the tree man is completely sublimated, he can upgrade from an oak guard to an ancient tree of life. The roots spread across the earth to form a network that transmits life energy, and the effect of nourishing life growth is equivalent to the life breath of Attilan. So Attilan is really special. The specialized ability that Attilan has formed after practicing the tree of life for hundreds of years, but Attilan was born with it, which made the tree man's ignorant head feel the disparity of the world. Looking at Attilan's back as he flew away happily, the tree man asked curiously, "Big Bear, the little dragon is so special. Are you really okay?" The bear man patted his chest and looked into the distance with a fierce look. "I am Jorge, I can hold on." Returning to the long-lost dragon's nest, Attilan began to take stock of the results of this practice. It was also half a month. In the first half of the month, he was like traveling around, and in the second half of the month, he was like being in a battlefield that could not stop for a moment. 15 days ago, he was just a druid level 2 young dragon. Now, not only has he reached level 4 as a druid, his spellcasting ability is comparable to that of a level 1 warlock. In this way, he is also a level 5 professional. The spellcasting ability granted by dragon blood allows dragons to learn spells similar to warlocks, but the dragons develop spells from their own bloodline, unlike warlocks that are given by others. Using the existing warlock spellcasting experience, combined with the knowledge of the ancestors who gave others the spellcasting ability of warlocks in his memory, Attilan felt that he should be able to make the Murloc priest a warlock. These days, Attilan has no time to pay attention to the changes in the Murloc tribe. He just occasionally drops some food at the entrance of the village. Unexpectedly, the Murloc strictly followed his instructions and built 10 river clam fields. Although the number of river clams is not enough, Attilan is very satisfied with the Murloc's execution. He immediately asked the Murloc to stop digging new river clam fields and take a day off today. Attilan found the old Murloc, who was carving a large piece of wood. The statue had already taken shape, and Attilan could tell at a glance that the dragon he carved was him. Although the old Murloc had made some improvements, such as a more coordinated body proportion, sharp claws, and longer dragon horns, it did not look like a young dragon at all, but more like a young dragon. "Master, the statue is ready. I wonder when the dedication ceremony can be held. Are you a warlock?" Attilan was a little surprised, but the old Murloc smiled calmly. "I was, but later I was abandoned by the benefactor, and I became a priest serving the water element. I can barely maintain the ability to cast spells and can heal everyone." Attilan felt that he seemed to have underestimated this old Murloc. He did not expect that after losing the spellcasting ability of the warlock, he could still teach himself, which was much stronger than the priest and druid he had previously inferred. Now it seems that there are still talents in the Murloc tribe. Look, this has allowed him to find an archdruid. Last time he came and went in a hurry, and then he was delayed again. "What is the occupation of the biggest fishman?" "Barbarian." Hearing the old fishman's answer, Attilan stared at him in surprise. "Barbarian, are you sure you are right?" It's not that Attilan looked down on the fishman, it's just that there are no such calm people who chose the profession of barbarian. The core of the barbarian is anger and indomitable. Learn to use your brain and arrange the fishman to work reasonably. Attilan thought he was a warrior with excellent command ability. Yes, there were many barbarians in the tribe who dared to rush into the battlefield. Now there is only him left. The others are just fishermen, at most reserve warriors. He has also become completely different from the barbarians I know. Under the guidance of a blue fish spirit, he learned to restrain his anger, so that he burst out more powerful anger in battle. Blue fish spirit, isn't this the totem soul of the barbarian? I didn't expect that there is such a rare existence in the fishman tribe. No wonder they can tame the magic blue fish as a mount. Do you have any other talents in your tribe? Looking at the big fishman who was training with several adult fishmen in the distance, the old fishman said with emotion, "If anyone can achieve something, it should be his 2 sons. To be specific, the eldest son is thin and not strong, but very agile. He swims very fast and smoothly. With training, he will be a qualified assassin." The youngest son has a good elemental perception ability. He is learning from me how to serve the water element and master the ability to cast spells. The herring spirit also has a good impression of him. A small tribe with only more than 60 fishmen can actually find such a rich variety of professional talents, such as warlocks, barbarians, assassins, and shamans. It really shocked Attilan. There is no need to mention warriors. This profession has the lowest threshold and is easy to learn but difficult to master. It is the most suitable cannon fodder on the battlefield. Just because warriors are orderly and follow orders, commanders like to use them to fill the front line. The second is the barbarians who charged into the battle. Attilan estimated that the barbarians of the Murloc tribe died in the charge. The death of these barbarians taught the Murlocs to use their brains and transformed from a violent warrior with endless anger to a totem warrior, guided by the totem soul. Compared with the barbarians, a warlock with the ability to cast spells is more important. Warlocks can make magic props and prepare magic potions. If I give you my dragon blood, can you restore the warlock's ability to cast spells? Chapter 16 Fishman Commercial Street. The old fishman hesitated. He did intend to serve Attilan, but he didn't think that sharing Attilan's current blood strength with him would restore his warlock level. His plan was to serve Attilan, teach his apprentice to learn warlock knowledge, and when Attilan grew up, he would give his apprentice dragon blood to become a dragon vein warlock. With the guidance of the dragon vein warlock, the fishman tribe would be able to revitalize. I think we can give it a try. Attilan was confident in training warlocks because he had eaten a lot of acorns grown by tree people absorbing natural force in the past half month. These life acorns pushed his dragon body to grow further. Attilan's body length increased from 2.8 meters to 3.5 meters, his height increased from 0.7 to 1 meter, his wingspan increased from 5 meters to 6.5 meters, and his weight increased from 40 kilograms to 120 kilograms. It would take at least 3 years for other small dragons to achieve the same growth, but Attilan only took half a month. In addition to the bear people mobilizing natural magic to secretly nourish him, the life acorns provided by the tree people were particularly important. These acorns are also due to Attilan's lightning breath and water of life, which stimulate the vitality of the tree man's body and make the acorns mature 6 months earlier, and the effect of increasing magic power is more than doubled. Druids plant trees and flowers to comprehend the natural growth of cultivation. The magic fruits and nectar produced by flowers and trees can further enhance physical fitness and magic power after consumption. This is a win-win situation. In addition to the acorns of life, when Attilan was tired, he soaked in the lake and found that the lake water containing water elements could relieve his fatigue. The closer to the center of the lake, the better the effect. He swam 30 miles to the center and saw an island in the distance. He keenly sensed that there was a danger on the island that he could not deal with now, and he could not even beat this unknown danger in 5 years. He decisively stopped here to swallow the lake water, especially the pure water element in the lake water. After absorption, it is good for the ocean dragon to develop the spell-like ability of the water element bloodline. The excellent perception of the druid allows Attilan to gather water elements as much as possible. Drinking less water can leave some stomach to enjoy sashimi, electric grilled monitor lizard, and barbecued wild boar. The fishman chef cooked under Attilan's instruction, but his stupid brain could not fully understand Attilan's words. Cooking is not an easy skill to learn. Dragon Lord, please drop a drop of blood on this statue, and then give me another drop of blood. Through the dragon blood of the master, I will connect with the master. In the future, I can ask the master's tribe for the next arrangement through the statue. Attilan nodded with satisfaction. The arrangement of this fishman warlock was of high standard. Attilan carefully cut his palm, squeezed out 2 drops of blood with a little difficulty, and gave the blood to the old fishman. He was still a young dragon, and too much bleeding would affect his growth. The old fishman swallowed a drop of blood and chanted the warlock spell. Attilan also gave his magic power to the old fishman according to the warlock's gifting ceremony in his memory. The old fishman's shriveled body showed green energy veins. His body swelled up like a balloon and had a lot of muscles. His height exceeded 1.5 meters. The rejuvenated old fishman used another drop of blood as a spell material and used the soul awakening spell on the statue. This is a spell commonly used by shamans to communicate with spirits, and it is just right for communicating with dragons. Attilan felt a soul that he could communicate with at any time, but the other party had to call him and get consent before they could establish contact. Just 2 drops of blood brought such a big change to the old fishman, worthy of him. How much has your strength increased? The old fishman bowed his head respectfully and said, Master, according to the general professional level calculation, I should now be at priest level 3, a warlock level 2, and a level 5 spellcaster. I was originally a level 5 warlock, and now I have recovered my original strength. The blood of the ocean dragon is very suitable for the fishman, but it wastes 20 years of time. The fishman has a few 20 years, and now he has only a few years to live after returning to his peak. It is good enough to train a qualified warlock successor for the tribe. Attilan did not want to consume the dragon blood and magic power that he had bestowed on the old fishman. He used ordinary dragon blood and magic power that would not affect him. The old fishman had experience and could use dragon blood as a primer to become a warlock, but his apprentice could not. He still had to hone his skills in the shaman field for a few years until he and Attilan grew up and could become a dragon vein warlock. The dragon blood was too little, so the old fishman could only be considered an ordinary warlock. If Attilan was willing to give the old fishman a drop of worthless blood every day, the old fishman might become a dragon vein warlock in 1 or 2 years. It would be better to invest in his apprentice than in the dying old fishman. There would be rewards only if there were merits. Now Attilan's help in restoring the old fishman's strength was already a rare reward. He had to wait until the fishman tribe made more merits before he could continue to be rewarded. If he gave dragon blood for a year in a row, the fishman would probably think that this was what Attilan should do. This was the bad nature of intelligent life. Walking out of the shabby sacrificial site built by the old fishman, a roofless building, the fishmen built it like this, not to mention their houses. The crooked and shabby village was too much for Attilan to bear. "Where are the trees I asked you to cut? Because of the druids in the forest, we didn't cut a lot of wood. What would you like us to build?" "I'm worried that the tribe's construction level may not be able to achieve what the Dragon Lord wants." Attilan shook his head indifferently. "I'll teach you some tips on building houses. Renovate all the houses, build a tavern in the middle of the village, build a gatehouse facing the forest, and build a pier on the lake." The old fishman understood what Attilan wanted to do as soon as he heard it. "Dragon Lord, there are not many merchants nearby. I don't think it will make much money if we build the village into a commercial town. It's better to use the labor on more important things. Do as I say and build a new commercial street." Attilan's tone was very stern, and the old fishman could only obey. He planned to open up a trade route from the fishman tribe to the southwest of the forest, so that he could communicate with a halfling town in a roundabout way and attract halflings and mountain dwarves in the west to come and sell goods. There is a human principality on the plains north of the forest, and further north is a grassland tribe where barbarians and orcs run rampant. There are also semi-civilized tribes such as centaurs and werewolves in the wasteland to the south. Attilan heard from the bear man that the elves living in the frost forest, the northernmost part of the continent, are best at making magic props. Before leaving today, the bear man finally gave him the magic prop made of pearls. The prop has a water-making spell that can make 1 cubic meter of clean water. The spell can only be used once every 7 days. It should be worth a lot of gold coins if sold in the desert. Although the bear man is a great druid, he has no research on economic issues such as gold coins. Attilan told the old fishman the knowledge of making earth embryos and mortise and tenon structures, and asked him to teach other fishmen to use the existing wood to build the gatehouse, and then make earth embryos to build a new house near the gatehouse. Leave an 8-meter wide road in the middle of the house, and there is a straight line from the gatehouse to the dock. In order to facilitate construction, the old fishman directly chose a new piece of land to build a large-scale project. After the gatehouse and more than 10 adobe houses were built, the originally dilapidated fishman tribe was covered by the new commercial street, and nothing could be seen from the forest. Of course, Attilan could see it clearly from the air. Dozens of fishmen worked together. Because the old fishman repeatedly lowered the construction standards, it took only 7 days to meet the living requirements and began to build the 2-story tavern required by Attilan. Attilan landed on the ground with satisfaction, and the old fishman saluted respectfully. "Dragon Lord, do you think this street meets your requirements?" "Yes, it is similar to the fishman commercial street I planned. It's okay to optimize the flaws later, but the tavern must be strictly required. Do you understand?" Chapter 17 Return of the Fawn. Although this is now a fishman tribe, it will not always be just a small fishman tribe with a radius of less than 300 meters. This is the first tribe that Attilan conquered. The village is his first town. Naturally, he will use this village to try various plans to build a natural empire. The geographical location of Kingland Town is quite good. Attilan has looked to the south and north along the border of the lake. There is a big river in the north that can connect to the human river valley principality in the center of the continent, and there are several rivers with good flow in the south that flow into the sea. The northernmost part of the continent is the forest elves, and the southernmost part is also the elves, but they are sea elves. This group of elves built the largest port city on the continent. It is second to none in the entire continent in terms of commerce, shipping, fisheries, literature, etc. At least it was like this 200 years ago, and it will only be better in 200 years. Attilan has no way of knowing how much better it has become. The only person who has been to the forest is the bear man. All other druids in the forest are from the north, and the nature of druids determines that they prefer to stay with animals and plants. There is no natural innocence in a prosperous metropolis like that. The druids who were stuck in the middle of cultivation could not accept it at all. As a town ruled by dragon druids, Attilan naturally had to use green plants to optimize the local conditions and customs of Kingland Town. The trees cut down by the fishmen naturally had to be replenished, so Attilan decided to plant a green belt in the town. The trees planted were peach trees, pear trees, pecans, apples, citrus, and grapevines, and the flowers were sunflowers, blueberries, and strawberries. The main focus was on both ornamental and edible properties. 25 days have passed, and the goats should have returned from the halfling town with a caravan. With food and iron tools, the construction work in Kingland Town will be much easier. Attilan planted 15 pear trees in the open space between the old district of Kingland Town and Fenking Street, using magic to catalyze the growth of the pear trees. It can be used 3 times a day, and in 5 days, a row of pear trees more than 2 meters high will be established on the open space. In another month, the snow-white pear blossoms will become a beautiful landscape in Kingland Town. Through this action, the old fishman completely realized how much Attilan disliked those dilapidated buildings. He simply took people to clean up the rubbish and moved everyone into new houses. Of course, the old fishman did not intend to waste this land. He knew very well that the commercial street was only for them to live temporarily, and their final home was still this residential street. The appearance of the fishmen determined that they were not suitable for hosting commercial activities. It would be almost the same if they were replaced by beautiful mermaids, but it was difficult for mermaids to move on land. And Kingland Town obviously did not have the conditions to recruit mermaids. Do you remember what I said about asking you to find a few smart fishmen to go to the center of the lake to recruit those remaining tribesmen who were also abandoned by Cetus? Do you have the candidates? After throwing the 2 wild boars to the chef, Attilan turned to look at the old fishman. I have selected 2 young murlocs who are suitable to become wanderers. There are many dangerous monsters on the road. If they do not undergo strict training, I am afraid that they will not be able to see the abandoned tribes alive. Although the swamp dragon Celestis has been at war with the dwarf kingdom and the human kingdom in the east for many years, it is even heard that his swamp kingdom has also had conflicts with the drow elves in the underground city. The reason is that the underground water seepage almost flooded the drow elves' underground city, so they stopped killing and destroying the high elves in the southeast. Attilan is not particularly concerned about these major events that may affect the entire continent. The main reason is that no one can send him intelligence even if he wants to care. He still lets the murlocs go to the islands scattered in the 800-li lake to recruit those tribes that are lingering. But Celestis has always been worried that the legendary druid George will stab him in the back, so he has set up many defense lines in the west of the lake. The monsters responsible for guarding these defense lines will not let these tribes slip away from them so easily. When the Murloc tribe migrated, they experienced this a lot. Monsters like multi-headed dragon snakes, dragon turtles, and dragon eels devoured many of their tribesmen. Murloc wanderers, Attilan remembered that he seemed to have planned to train the Murlocs to change their professions, so that the Murlocs could destroy the bottoms of enemy ships during naval battles. Attilan had some memories of his ancestors training their wanderers. Although the highest level of the wanderer profession involved in the knowledge was only level 5, it was barely enough to train the Murlocs. The main reason was that Attilan didn't think these Murloc wanderers could break through a level 5. You hand them over to me for training. With a professional level, combined with the experience and lessons you learned from the migration, they should be able to survive and return to the lake. We don't plan to migrate the tribe for the first time. They only need to collect some intelligence about the defeated tribes and the war in the east, so that I can understand the enemy. The old Murloc looked at Attilan in horror. Enemy? Dragon Lord? Do you mean we should go to war with the kingdom of the marshland? Attilan was speechless and patiently explained, we don't want to fight them. It's just that after they know we exist in the west, do you think they will still let us develop? The old fishman thought about it and it seemed to be true. Dragon Lord, why don't we go to the south where there are many rivers to recruit some tribesmen? There is less influence from the kingdom of the marshland there, and the recruited people will not inform the kingdom of the marshland. The old fishman's words made sense, and Attilan suddenly thought of a question. Why didn't you go to the south at the beginning? Why did you run to the west? The competition in the south is fierce. If you are not careful, the whole tribe will be killed. At most, a few people will escape, but they have lost their inheritance and there is no hope. Although the west is not rich in resources, it is safe. The tribe that was severely injured has been successfully inherited and there is still a chance to recover, but the process will take a little longer. Attilan frowned. The fishman tribe didn't even have enough food to eat before he came. Can this be considered an orderly inheritance and a hope for revival? Seeing Attilan's teasing eyes, the old fishman coughed awkwardly. Cerstis used magic to block the west side of the lake. Fish rarely come here, and we can't go deep into the forest, which leads to a lack of food. Some fishmen crossed the blockade to hunt, but the abnormal smell made them become prey of aquatic monsters instead. In order to prevent the druids from disguising themselves as animals for reconnaissance, the arrangement of the swamp dragon was really amazing. It was possible to go from east to west, but not from west to east. The old fishman arranged people to go to the towns of the Marsh Kingdom to inquire about the news. The plan was to go south and east along the border of the lake, and finally enter the marsh from the south where the guards were weaker, and finally collect intelligence in return. Going to the tribal mixed land in the south is also to rush along the edge. The main focus is safety. Sending wanderers who are good at hiding and communication is also for safety. Safety first. Attilan still agrees with this concept, so he asked Mep to buy food with the people and horses, just to avoid being robbed halfway. A month has passed, and the goatmen should be back. Yes. Forgot to build a granary. Granary? Dragon Lord, our food can barely sustain our consumption, so there is no need to build a granary. We will need it soon, and the goatmen will come back with food. Attilan didn't know that the goatmen he was talking about had actually returned. However, looking at the gatehouse and the golden sunflowers on both sides, he was a little suspicious whether he had come to the wrong place. The centaurs unloaded the food they were carrying, and looking at the gatehouse with Kingland Town written in common characters and the neat and uniform houses, the leader of the centaurs said with emotion, "It's better than expected. I didn't expect that the fishman could build such a good building." The goatman stared blankly at everything in front of him and rubbed his face. "I didn't expect it either. I didn't recognize it at all when I came back after going out." Chapter 18, Title Sea Spirit. Just when the goatman was standing at the gate stupidly, not knowing where to go, Attilan finally sensed the presence of the goatman and the centaur at the town entrance. Gather people to carry food to the gatehouse, and ask the chef to boil more hot water. Then he flew into the sky, crossed hundreds of meters in a few breaths and appeared in front of the goatman. "Why don't you go in? What are you doing standing at the gatehouse?" The goatman pointed at the neat gatehouse and the sunflower garden surrounded by the fence in front of him and asked half doubtfully, "Did you instruct the fishman to build all these?" Attilan introduced proudly, "Except for the sunflowers, which I used the druid spell to create this morning. The rest were built by the fishman. For example, the fence of the flower garden came from the building materials of the fishman's former dilapidated houses. As a druid, he should learn to reuse wood and building materials multiple times to be green and environmentally friendly." Tisk, tisk, tisk. I can't believe that the hands of the fishman can build such a beautiful building. The gatehouse with Chinese architectural style really gave the goatman and the centaur a refreshing feeling. "Come in. I have asked people to prepare hot soup and barbecue. Please help carry the food." These 10 people, each carrying 800 kilograms of food, crossed the forest and delivered it to Kingland Town. Attilan would at least give them a full meal, not to mention wages. The 2 wild boars would definitely not be able to bear it, so he pushed the centaur with his tail. "Mep, you are also half a master. Please help to receive the people. If you keep walking along this road, you will see an oak tree. For the time being, let everyone rest in the open space. When the tavern is built, I will definitely treat everyone to a night of drinking." Attilan made a circular treatment in the center of this 800-meter-long commercial street, so that the tavern in the south and the hotel in the north can receive more guests, and it will not cause congestion. Because of the tempering of the oak guard, the bear man believes that the difficulty of Attilan's practice should be raised to a higher level, so that he can get rid of the low-level interest of planting flowers and trees. Turn to redistribution of forest resources. Tree transplantation. As trees grow, adjacent trees will compete with each other. This requires druids to adjust the layout of trees so that they can continue to grow and the scope of the forest will be expanded. When a tree or even a row of trees suddenly appear at the edge of the forest, don't panic, it's the druids doing their job. Attilan's task is to move the extra trees to the edge of the forest. The bear man taught Attilan his optimized tree transfer technique. It's not easy to move a tree over 10 meters tall to dozens of miles away. Even if the transfer technique can shrink trees for easy carrying, the druid needs to continuously mobilize natural magic to maintain the spell during the process. If he is not careful, he will lose control. Being crushed by a heavy tree is enough for the druid. Attilan was almost crushed to death by the tree when he was trying to transport it for the first time. After that, he patiently and slowly transported it. Anyway, the bear man just asked him to do something, and there was no time limit before which all the discordant trees must be moved. Therefore, Attilan felt at ease to use his power for personal gain and move the extra fruit trees and nuts to the vicinity of Kingland Town. The goatman saw it and understood that Attilan asked him to receive him because he wanted to go hunting for food and come back to entertain the centaurs. You can just use the druid spell to ripen the fruits and nuts in the orchard, and it will be enough for everyone to have a good meal. The goatman was already very tired. He also experienced a long journey with these centaurs, okay? This damn Attilan really didn't treat him as an outsider. Attilan smiled and patted the goatman on the shoulder. This Kingland town is still in need of a mayor. I am very optimistic about you. Compared with living in the forest with the tiger people, the goatman actually prefers lively towns and gathering places of intelligent life, so he likes to run to the centaur tribe and the halfling town. Now there is an opportunity to be the mayor in front of him, and Mep will not miss it. The originally weak half-goatman instantly became energetic and raised his head and said, "Everyone, Mayor Mep will be responsible for entertaining you next. Mep is really the most suitable candidate for mayor among the people Attilan knows. First of all, he has traveled across the continent, visited the human principality, the elven forest, the dwarf kingdom, the halfling town, and the barbarian tribe. As a wanderer, he has superb words and is eloquent. He has met many city leaders and got into the role so quickly. Attilan believes that Mep will be a suitable mayor." Attilan went to the forest to catch 2 giant lizards and gave them to the chef so that this thank you dinner would not be too shabby. He had no choice because his magic power had to be used to move big trees and cash crops. Outside the singing and dancing crowd, the half-goat man drank fish soup and looked at Attilan with admiration. "I've only been gone for a month, and you've not only built such a neat town, but you've also grown a whole circle. What have you eaten this month?" Just now, Mep was so shocked by the changes in the fishman tribe that he realized that Attilan's progress was just as exaggerated. "My progress is not worth mentioning. I think the most important thing now is the industrial layout and manpower issues of Kingland Town. Mayor Mep, where do you think we should go to recruit townspeople?" "I think with the reputation of the mayor, I'm sure I can recruit a lot of people, right?" Mep's body stiffened. "What kind of reputation can a wanderer who is less than level 10 have? If he empties his savings, he should be able to buy a few good slaves in the human town in the north. Ahem, I will discuss this with the fishman priest and recruit as many people as possible. Is there anything else I need to deal with?" Attilan then remembered that the half-goat people are wanderers, and it is just right for him to be the mentor of the fishman wanderers. "I plan to train a few rogues, and leave it to you." The satyr smiled confidently, patted his chest and asked, "No problem, do you need me to teach them magic?" Attilan was quite surprised. "Aren't you a rogue? How can a rogue know magic?" "Of course. I am the elite among rogues, a trickster. With the innate spell-like abilities of the satyrs, I can travel the world fearlessly." "Then how did you almost get killed by the human lord and need the tiger man to save you? Can you not expose the shortcomings? Don't you know that the biggest feature of humans is that they are numerous?" After the rogue was exposed, he was surrounded by the crowd, and stabbed with swords, spears, and halberds. The rogue couldn't stop it at all. Looking at Mep's dark face, Attilan said with a smile, "It's enough to teach them stealth, concealment, and speech. At most, they can learn a little bit of lockpicking, assassination, and spells. It always feels a bit out of place for a rogue to learn spells. Compared to a trickster, I think the shadow warrior profession is more suitable for thieves to advance." The goatman nodded thoughtfully. It seemed that after learning the knowledge of the trickster, his rogue level did not improve but regressed, causing him to slip and be discovered by the human lord. Attilan directly asked the old fishman to bring the 2 apprentices to Mep. Looking at one of the apprentices, he suddenly felt that he seemed a little familiar. "Who is this?" "He is the eldest son of the strong fishman. He is a little smaller, but flexible enough. Isn't this the little fishman who was eaten by the big bluefish?" It turns out that he is not a minor, but just small in size. Being small is indeed suitable for the rogue profession. If this little fishman learns some more spells and is equipped with a shark spirit, wouldn't he be a title sea spirit? It has been recommended. Everyone must contribute a follow-up reading on Tuesday. Chapter 19 Fairy Forest. How to arrange it specifically depends on the talent of the little fish man. If he has good stealth and spell talents, Attilan can consider letting Mep teach him to change his job to the trickster profession, give him the name of Fizz, and then help him find a shark spirit to make him a true title sea spirit. Although the goatman has never served as a wanderer or mentor before, he has been an apprentice. He knows very well what the wanderer apprentice needs most. That is agility. Wanderer, then you must wander around. The idea is that you can't beat, but you must be able to run. The first lesson of the wanderer is to grease your feet. It is also important to teach students in accordance with their aptitude. The talents of these 2 fishmen are very different. Quasi-Fizz has a smart look in his eyes and flexible hands and feet, which is more suitable for thieves who are proficient in telepathy and stealing. The other is taciturn, with weak footsteps and presence, and is suitable to be an assassin. One is after the master's treasure, the other is after the master's life. The former is something that the goat man has the confidence to teach well, but as an optimistic goat man, he has never assassinated anyone. Judging from the first impression, the goat man actually prefers the latter. Maybe the talent of the quasi-fits is better, but talent cannot represent everything. For example, Mep himself, his rogue professional level is not low, but his practical ability can only be regarded as a petty thief. On the contrary, some assassins with lower levels than him have successfully assassinated the Great Lord, and their reputations have spread far and wide and they have survived. Almost all such assassins have become shadow warriors. For example, the object of his former admiration, a human female shadow warrior, he will never forget her flowing and smooth red hair. However, as a fae, it is difficult for a goat man to communicate with the shadow world. He cannot obtain shadow energy and cannot become a shadow warrior, so he can only become a trickster. But assassins and shadow warriors have no love, and they do not believe in love, not to mention that the person they admire is a goat man. Looking at the two apprentices in front of him who were training the basic skills of the wanderers according to his instructions, Mep's memory returned to the good times he had spent in the wanderer training camp when he left his hometown, the fairy forest, when he was young. Attilan did not accompany them all the time. He encouraged them with a few words and found the old fishman to count the supplies brought back by the troops. Seeing Attilan, the old fishman's hands were shaking with excitement. "Dragon Lord, there are a total of 7,500 kilograms of wheat flour, some iron tools, and I see some spearheads. Do you plan to turn all the fishman warriors into spearmen?" After more than a month of sufficient food supply, the muscles of the fishman warriors swelled up at a speed visible to the naked eye. Their strength is enough to support them to fight with 3-meter-long spears. Spearmen are the easiest type of soldiers to train. They only need to train the formation and let them learn to line up and thrust forward with their spears. Of course, tomorrow you will select 10 murlocs to receive spearman training. All those iron tools were made by Attilan based on the drawings of woodworking tools in his previous life. And he asked the goat man to take them to the halfling town to find a blacksmith to customize them. It is impossible to always use logs as building materials to build a town. The bear man also told Attilan that the area of the forest could not continue to expand, but it is best for druids not to do things like cutting down trees. Their way of dealing with it is generally to place the extra giant trees on the outskirts of the forest. People who need them will naturally cut them down when they see them, but how can the trees planted by the druids with great effort be cut down in vain? Even if you don't thank the druids, at least you should thank nature and learn to respect nature. The power of faith provided by the pure awe of human beings has a significant effect on improving the natural magic quality of the forest. As for the negative factors of the power of faith gathered in the plants and formed evil plant monsters, it is just a small problem. The ultimate goal of the druids is to spread the belief in nature. If you believe in a specific natural god, then you should promote the corresponding god. Druids, like bear people who believe in the power of nature, promote that everything people touch is part of nature. Druids should be respectful and feel nature, and nature will give back power to druids. The giant trees are there, but not everyone can cut them down and leave safely. The giant trees are more like bait, allowing those lives that do not respect nature to be ruthlessly swallowed by the forest. The fact that the druids do not take action does not mean that the wolves and tigers in the forest will not take action. In order to prevent the murlocs from entering the forest to cut trees and being swallowed by the forest, Attilan needs to train them. First, they should maintain a reverence for nature, and secondly, the murlocs need to contribute to the forest. All the murlocs can do is water and fertilize. Before Attilan came, the murlocs did not even have a toilet. They either found an open space or went to the water to solve the problem. They did not feel dirty at all, and they did not know the hidden diseases. The only facilities still in operation in the old district are the 2 toilets that Attilan planned at the first time. They not only ensure the health of the fishmen, but also accumulate a lot of organic fertilizer for the town. These organic fertilizers still need time to ferment. What can be used now is the wood ash obtained by burning the dead branches and leaves collected by the fishmen. When Attilan asked the fishmen to go to the forest to collect dead branches and leaves, they should sprinkle a small handful of wood ash on the trees along the way. Remember to sprinkle it with a pious heart towards nature. In addition, cleaning up the fallen leaves will reduce the risk of forest fires. The fishmen have made 2 contributions to the forest. They can be considered as one of their own, and they will not be easily swallowed by the thorns and trees, jackals, tigers and leopards along the way. It's just that the forest will not reject the fishmen. Who will be eaten depends on their own abilities. The fishmen will not disappear inexplicably after entering the forest again. The fishmen do not enter the forest to hunt, which are the lessons learned over the years. With these tools, I think you should have no problem with the 2-story tavern I planned. Practice with a warehouse first. And build a leak-proof warehouse as soon as possible. I will take people to familiarize themselves with the use of these tools, and try to build the warehouse before dawn tomorrow. For these food, the old fishman is going to fight for his life. A fishman can meet his daily energy needs with the food he gets from hunting plus a pound of flour. If he saves these 7,500 pounds of flour, it will be enough for the more than 60 fishmen in the tribe to eat for half a year. How can the old fishman not be excited? If they can eat enough this year, the tribe will be able to welcome the birth of a group of little fishmen next year. After the old fishman left, the half-goat man found Attilan. The training is over so soon. They are still training. I came here to tell you about their talents. One has better talent, but he can't stand the boring training. I guess he will start to slack off as soon as I leave. 2 is not so good, but his stable emotions make him have the potential to become an excellent assassin. It's just that I am not good at training assassins. Attilan nodded and asked, regarding the manpower issue, where do you think we should go to recruit people? Is it possible to recruit centaurs and halflings? Mep shook his head. It's not that he doesn't think highly of Attilan, but the conditions in Kingland Town really can't attract them. Halflings will not give up the excellent conditions in their hometown to come here. Centaurs will not betray the Horse King unless Attilan can subdue the Horse King. It's better to recruit them in his hometown. Although the living conditions of the goat people are better than those of the fish people, they obviously don't have more room for advancement than following the dragon. With the personality of the goat people who like to join in the fun, maybe someone will really be attracted by the name of the dragon. Why not recruit people from my hometown? There are many fey creatures living in the fairy forest. Fae are close to druids. The recruitment from the dragon druids will definitely arouse the curiosity of the little guys. When they come, we will find a way to keep them. Attilan nodded in agreement. The little goblins came to Kingland Town and wanted to leave? Do you really think he runs an inn? I have recommended it. Data is very important. I hope everyone will support SYNOPSIS and read it every day to keep me motivated to write. Chapter 20 Madam, you don't want to. Besides, when the goat man returns from the fairy forest, it is unknown what Kingland Town has developed into. Attilan's plan of a city surrounded by flowers all year round is unrealistic to complete, but he is confident that at least half of it will be completed. How long does it take you to go back and forth? The goat man frowned. It will probably take 3 months, but if I leave, what will happen to the pearl business in Halfling Town? Attilan said decisively. You will set off with 2 fishmen tomorrow. It is just right to take them for actual combat training on the way, and you will also have 2 helpers. I allow you to use the funds obtained from the pearls to hire 2 more horses to ensure the safety of the journey. As for the pearl business, you have sold enough pearl jewelry this time. It takes time for halflings to accumulate wealth, and it also takes time for us to produce pearls. Stop for a while, let those who have jewelry show off for a few months, and then we will sell them. I think the business will be better than it is now. The goat man applauded. This dragon has a good business mind. How could Attilan not understand hunger marketing and comparison psychology? Then I will lead the team out tomorrow. After saying this, the half-goat realized a problem. It seems that he just came back today. Before he went home, he was fooled by the dragon to become the mayor. Now he has to go back to his hometown to recruit people for him. As expected of the dragon, he really knows how to order people to do things. Things are not so urgent. I think we should take a long-term view. If we set out in a hurry, what can I do to impress the spirits in the fairy forest? You have to prepare some specialties of Kingland Town for me to take back as gifts, don't you think? The half-goat sneered in his heart. It's good enough that you can build these houses in a month. I don't believe you can make specialties. Who knew that? Attilan said without thinking. Pearls. You haven't sold all the pearls yet, just pick some good ones from the remaining pearls and give them to them. Tell them that we have 10 muscle fields here, each of which can produce hundreds of pearls of better quality than these. Looking at the beautiful luster of the pearls, are you tempted? I am. The half-goat man's heart sank. It seems that he can't escape the fate of being on the road forever. Okay, I'll go, but you have to raise the pearls as quickly as possible. Don't worry, leave it to me. The muscle field has such a large capacity, but the collected muscles have not even filled the first muscle field. If you can't collect wild muscles, You can only find a way to breed and raise them yourself. Yes, Attilan remembered that the reproduction of mussels seems to need a little help. Mussels will parasitize the larvae on the gills of fish to grow, and when they mature, they will break out of the sac. At this time, they will be a new little mussel, so fish need to be raised in the mussel field. It is best to feed herbivorous fish, because carnivorous fish will eat the small river clams. And to feed herbivorous fish, the fishermen only need to cut grass when they have time and throw it into the river clam field. Attilan has already prepared sickles for them. The next morning, when Attilan returned to Kingland town from hunting, the whole street was filled with the sweet aroma of honey bread. Attilan really hadn't eaten bread, a food full of civilized atmosphere, for a long time. After landing, he immediately called out loudly, "Give me a big piece of bread, Dragon Lord, it's ready for you." A fishman handed Attilan a rectangular wooden board with a length of more than 1 meter and a similar oval bread on it. Not bad, Attilan enjoyed the rare delicacy, and the old fishman rubbed his hands beside him. "Dragon Lord, where did you get this flour from? Can we get more? The halfling town in the west uses the pearls you gave me, so do you understand how important the mussel fields are now? The value of the pearls is naturally more than a few thousand kilograms of wheat flour, but the rest has been exchanged for gold coins and lies in his dragon's nest, a full 52 gold coins, and the sound of collision when they are picked up and scattered is crisp and pleasant." I understand very much." The old fishman's eyes became sharp, and he must let his men expand the scope of searching for mussels. All the mussels in the safe zone, no matter how big or small, are theirs. Naturally, they are also the Dragon Lord's. By the way, catch some more herbivorous fish and raise them together with the mussels. Yes, the old fishman didn't ask why. He knew that the Dragon Lord must have his own intentions for doing this. Although he has lived in the water for decades, the water dragon must know more about aquatic products than them. Honey bread is delicious. Attilan ate faster and faster. This 1 meter long bread only filled half of his stomach. Another piece of this size. The half-goat man walked out of the kitchen with a honey baguette in each hand. Honey is free. This bread of yours uses the most honey. If you want to eat honey bread again, you have to find new honey in the forest. Anyway, I have told the fishman chef how to make bread. Pack a few loaves of bread with more honey for me to take back to honor my master. He must know where to find honey. The flowers in the forest were clearly blooming. He had seen bees, but he couldn't find a beehive. The honey produced by the only wild beehive was probably all in today's bread. If there is no honey, we will eat pork and ham bread tomorrow. After quickly eating a roasted pork leg, Attilan took the basket to find the bear man. "Master, look what I brought back for you." The bear man opened the basket with a cold look, and a strong fragrance came to his face, but he didn't touch it. "You finally know to come back after being out in the wild for half a month. Tell me, what do you need my help with?" "Master, try the bread quickly. It won't taste good if it's cold." "What can I do for you?" The bear man took a bite of the bread half believingly. "Actually, there's something." Seeing the bear man trying to spit out the bread, Attilan immediately pressed it back with his claws. "It's a small matter. It's a small matter. I just want to find some honey. Ask Master if there's any way. There is a druid who likes beekeeping near the river to the north. Whether you can get honey depends on your ability. Master, take your time, I'll be back soon." Looking at Attilan, who was flying into the sky in a hurry, the bear man shook his head helplessly. It's been a long time since he had eaten honey bread. It tasted pretty good. After eating a few bites, he looked down and found that the basket of bread was gone. Little dragon, all the way north, Attilan saw a sea of flowers in the distance. But this area was lingering with a white mist with a faint floral fragrance. The mist was very thin, but it blocked Attilan's perception of the surrounding nature. He knew he had come to the right place. A month of growth made Attilan's spirit sharper. He successfully penetrated the mist and came to a small wooden house. The door opened, and a middle-aged woman wearing clothes woven with vines walked out. "Who's here?" "A dragon, madam. I hope to exchange some honey." "I brought honey bread." The vine girl walked straight to Attilan, grabbed a piece of bread, smelled it, tore off a piece to see the fibers, and tasted it. "Not bad, but not good enough, madam. Your honey must be the best, but in the deep forest, who knows? Delicious food that no one has tasted cannot be considered delicious. What do you think?" The vine girl moved her fingers but did not speak. "Our bread is not good enough now, but we will work hard to improve it and let more people know about it." "What about your honey?" "Madam, you don't want your honey to be buried like this. Do you? Please read on, reward, comment, and recommend. I have recommended it. Thank you all for your support. Chapter 21 Magic Cuisine. Attilan's words made Fusion fall into deep thought for a short time, but she woke up in less than 5 seconds and looked at Attilan with a squint. You are the apprentice of that big stupid bear. Attilan was stunned when he heard this. How did he know this? Fusion covered her nose with her hand and said with disdain, when I get close to you, I can smell the stench of that big stupid bear, and there is also a natural magic that is exactly the same. If you are not his apprentice, then who is? A dragon druid is really rare. If he wants to eat honey, why doesn't he come to me in person? He sent you here and still wants to eat honey. I think he is wishful thinking. After mentioning the bear man, Fusion's momentum became more and more fierce. Attilan subconsciously took 2 steps back. Even though he was already a dragon, it was ingrained in his bones not to conflict with an angry woman. Actually, I wanted to eat honey bread, so I asked Master where I could find honey, and Master introduced you to this place. What does he think this place is? A restaurant where you can come and go as you please, or a grocery store? He even introduced his own disciples to buy things here. Attilan felt the increasingly strong aura of a resentful woman from Fusion, and he really wanted to escape, but he couldn't. The mist around him became much thicker without him noticing. Now the area of the cabin has been closed off. He must either forcefully break through the field blockade or defeat Fusion, the spellcaster. Based on Attilan's comparison of his own strength with Fusion, his chances of winning are about 10%. This Fusion's druid attainments are probably not as good as those of the bear man, but Attilan didn't dare to move. Ahem, senior, I think people should bravely pursue their own love. Only by expressing their feelings, those who can't think straight, those whose heads have become wooden, will understand that someone like him. Senior, do you think my idea is right? Fusion felt that Attilan was much more pleasing to the eye when she heard this. Not bad, I didn't expect that little bear would accept such a sensible apprentice like you. His tone changed instantly. Sure enough, this Fusion girl had a crush on his master. My master is really a person who can't think straight. When I go back, I will definitely persuade him that people should have a companion when they reach a certain age. What's the point of staying with a tree all day? Fusion girl kept nodding and looked at Attilan with a smile. Well said, persuading your master's big stupid bear must hurt your throat. Auntie has some throat-soothing honey for you to take back and eat. After eating, come to Auntie to get more, eat whatever you want. Sure enough, the love brain is the easiest to deceive. Attilan looked at Fusion girl with a solemn oath. Don't worry, Auntie, my master has only one choice. In the future, he will only eat the honey you brew, and only the honey you brew. Ho ho ho. With a silver bell-like laughter, the mist field covering the forest suddenly dissipated. Attilan was moved. Fusion girl was indeed a great druid, and her joy, anger, sorrow and happiness would affect the surrounding environment. Then I'll go first. Auntie, don't worry. I will definitely let Master realize your kindness. After repeated assurances, Attilan returned to Kingland Town with a large jar of golden honey containing the magic of the forest. Mip. The recruitment plan to the fairy forest is temporarily cancelled. Why? He got up at dawn and packed everything in order to set off as soon as possible, but she told me that I don't have to go. If it weren't for being unable to defeat Attilan, the half-goat man wouldn't have wanted to draw his sword. Look at this. Seeing this jar of top-quality honey, the half-goat man's eyes widened. Even in the fairy forest, honey of this quality is rare. With the size of a little goblin, it would take at least 3 months to brew such a large jar of magic honey. You are not going to use ordinary flour to cook this jar of honey, are you? Attilan asked back. Then can you cook magic food? I am not talented, but I have learned a little bit of magic cooking. Attilan is increasingly unable to understand the goat man. He originally thought that he was just an ordinary archdruid man wanderer, but he is also a rare trickster, and has the potential to become an archdruid. Now he has the life profession of a magic chef, plus the combat profession of a trickster. Attilan has determined that he is an archdruid, and being the mayor of Kingland Town is simply a waste of talent. Mep is like the kind of minister of the interior who is born to serve the king. He makes magic food and is responsible for the king's life. The trickster can also help the king cook assassins who come to assassinate him. Speaking of magic food, Attilan's brain began to automatically retrieve related inherited memories. I can make a little bit, but this flour is really not good enough. I will use magic to nourish some wheat. Although the magic can only be retained in a trace amount, it can barely be regarded as a magic plant. Carefully select some fruits and nuts from the forest, and you should be able to make good magic bread. I will give it to the seniors to enjoy, and it should be able to help us exchange for a steady supply of honey. Although he promised the fugitive to help pursue the bear man, Attilan did not dare to guarantee that he could 100% deal with the old stubborn bear man. I will go to train the apprentices, and you will take care of the magic materials. Tomorrow, the two of us will work together to make magic dishes. If we have magic dishes as a signature, I think even the elf wizards will be attracted to our Kingland town. Attilan rolled his eyes at him and asked jokingly, if you dare to brag that honey bread is a magic dish with only one dish, are you sure you, the mayor, will not be dragged out and beaten? The half-goat man took a deep breath. If there was only one dish, he would definitely be beaten to pulp. How could he marry a wife? Then we will promote the reputation of magic cuisine. After we have developed a magic recipe for the entire banquet process, Attilan shook his head and said proudly, we will only serve one dish at a time. Only the honorary townspeople of Kingland Town can enjoy the full service. As for how to become an honorary townsperson, it depends on their contribution. As expected, it was Attilan again. He was more cunning than the devil. The devils in Batterhull could only work for him when they met him. I remember that the fish people raised a kind of magic big bluefish. A small fish of about 50 centimeters can be used to make magic cuisine. I will ask about the difficulty of breeding it later. Attilan still hasn't forgotten the taste of the big bluefish sashimi. That was his first meal after he was born. Although it was a little simple, he had a full sense of ritual. In the future, he can only use the big bluefish magic cuisine to commemorate his lost youth and the swimming under the sunset that day. The old fisherman suddenly ran forward excitedly to report, Dragon Lord, our men found a very large river clam, but there is a big black snake swimming around the clam. We are no match for it, so we can only come back and tell me the news. I wonder if the Dragon Lord can do it himself. How big is the clam? The men said that the clam should be half the length of their spears. Half? A river clam that is more than 1 meter long. How big must a pearl be? Take me there quickly. Please support, recommend, reward, and comment. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 22 Dark Night Stars. Following the two Murloc warriors, we advanced 30 kilometers in a straight line. It was not far from the place where Attilan usually absorbed water elements. With the challenge level of the nearby wild beasts, the Murlocs were simply delivering food here. The Murlocs could use green, environmentally friendly, low-energy, and cost-effective consumables for 20 years, but the old Murloc ordered them to run to such a dangerous place to collect river clams. How much food could the loss of labor value of a dead Murloc buy? In addition to wheat flour, the Goldman brought back wheat seeds in this transaction. Attilan planned to open up farmland in the wilderness south of the forest to grow wheat. In fact, the yield of rice planted in such land close to lakes and rich in water resources would be twice as high. But unfortunately, the Goldman did not find rice seeds, and had never even heard of rice. It is estimated that there should be no rice in the entire continent, and even wild rice grass before rice domestication was not found. Some foxtail grass, the predecessor of corn, was found. Instead of domesticating foxtail grass, Attilan might as well optimize the existing wheat seeds. Seed optimization is a long process. If you can't increase the yield per mu, you can only increase the number of mu of land. As long as you open up 200 mu of land in the wilderness, even if the output of the fishmen is only half of that of the halflings. In addition to feeding the existing fishmen, there will be some surplus. The problem is that there are many races in the wilderness that make a living by looting. For example, there are many cousins of the people who help Attilan transport food. They are looting and being looted. The most numerous race in the wilderness is the Gnolls, followed by the Centaurs and Minotaurs. There are also other races living sporadically, but the number is not as large as the above three. The Gnolls don't like to eat food, but the Centaurs and Minotaurs don't mind. The fishmen grow 200 mu of wheat, which is a gift from God for them. The Centaurs come and go in the wilderness like the wind to collect information about the looting targets. 200 mu of land is not a small number. Combined with the ditches needed for irrigation, the investment in this project is huge. Attilan doesn't want to lose money. The habitat of the river clams and the big black snake has arrived. It seems that the river clams and the big black snake are not good. The big black snake has been swimming around just because he wants to eat the river clam meat. A group of small fish were driven by the big black snake to the vicinity of the river clam. When the river clam opened its shell to catch fish, the big black snake shot out like a sharp arrow, trying to kill the defenseless river clam. Fortunately, the river clam closed its shell in time, causing the big black snake to hit the shell. The river clam was too big, and it could not feed itself by eating plankton and algae, so it had to attack the small fish. The absorption of water elements over the years has made the river clam a magical creature, which is much more attractive than ordinary creatures. No wonder the big black snake was reluctant to give up for a long time. The big black snake took a fancy to the river clam meat, and Attilan also took a fancy to the snake meat. Attilan used a ghost mobile to go around behind the big black snake. The big black snake was still salivating over the river clam. The greed for food made the big black snake lose caution. He entangled with the river clam for a long time, but the river clam had no lethality to him. The clam shell could not kill him, but would give him the opportunity to bite the clam meat and inject toxins. The big black snake was concentrating on finding an opportunity to inject poison. Attilan rushed out from the dark and hit the big black snake's head with his claws, knocking him out. He pulled out the black snake's fangs and turned to the fishmen and told them, "Move the clams and go back with me." The 4 fishermen cut the water grass and tied up the clams, dragging the clams and following Attilan back to Kingland town. Attilan did not kill the big black snake directly, because it was a magical snake that could be used to practice magic cooking skills. Once a magic beast dies, the magic in its body will partially dissipate. There are some skills in magic cooking that tell how to handle magic ingredients to reduce loss. Of course, killing a magic beast and eating it quickly will not lose much magic, but the nourishing effect is definitely not as good as making magic food, so Attilan only knocked the big black snake out first. In order to send the clams back to the clam fields safely, Attilan could only accommodate the speed of the fishmen and hit the big black snake's head several times on the way, and finally returned to Kingland town. Mep, look what good stuff I brought back. Looking at the 3-meter-long black snake, the goatman couldn't hide his excitement and stroked its smooth scales. Magic black snake, good stuff. What are you going to do with it? Of course, I'll make soup. I brought back lake water with abundant water elements from the deeper part of the lake. Have you prepared the kitchen utensils I asked you to make? In order to preserve the magic of the ingredients to the maximum extent, magical cooking requires the use of special kitchen utensils that have been processed by magic. The goatman sighed, I used up all my magic power and only made a few pottery, which is just right for making soup. It's just right that we can try several different recipes. Magic cooking is actually similar to making magic potions. The goatman processed the snake meat and put it evenly into the pottery jars, one with only lake water and snake meat, one with honey, one with fungus and mushrooms, and finally a big stew with all the ingredients that can be found and suitable. The magic snake dish was ready, and Attilan finally had time to focus on the big river clam, which had been placed in a separate river clam field. The old fishman looked at the river clam on the shore with some concern. What's wrong, Dragon Lord? I think such a big river clam must not be kept alive, so I was thinking about how to provide it with the most comfortable environment. Attilan nodded and said with a smile, I'm a druid, leave it to me. Druids have spells to communicate with animals. If it were an ordinary river clam, it would not be able to communicate. Such a big river clam should have some vague consciousness, otherwise the big black snake would have succeeded. The river clam was suddenly transferred to an unfamiliar environment, and the water was still shallow, which made it feel insecure. It was very panicked. Attilan released a green light to appease the river clam, and told it through the animal communication spell that it could stay here safely, someone would provide it with food. And it only needed to nurture pearls. Releasing goodwill made the river clam settle down. Attilan only wanted pearls, not clam meat, and also supported painless pearl extraction. When the clam learned what a pearl was, it was a little excited. It hoped that Attilan could help it take the pearl out of its body. The process of nurturing pearls was not pleasant for the clam. It was just that the clam could not remove the impurities embedded in its body by itself, so it could only secrete a substance to wrap the impurities, and finally formed a pearl. In fact, pearls are clam stones. Under Attilan's comfort, the clam slowly opened its shell and quickly locked the position of the pearl. With a slight hook of its claws, the clam did not feel much pain, and a black pearl fell into Attilan's hands. Perfect, too perfect, a pearl with a diameter of 5 centimeters. the dark surface of which shone with blue light under the sunlight. Dark night star. This name is perfect. Before the clamshell closed, Attilan stuffed another grain of sand into it. This time it was not embedded in the clam's flesh. Attilan taught the clam how to secrete nacre to wrap the sand and guide the water element to wash the pearl. The pearl nurtured by the clam next time will be rounder and more magical. Looking at the dark night star in Attilan's hand, everyone held their breath, because it was so beautiful, and the light had a breathtaking feeling. Because of this, Attilan realized that the river clam was not ordinary, but a mirage with illusion ability. Chapter 23, Dream Chef. Mirage, a creature that spews out special mist with psychedelic ability. The mirage gas spewed by the big clam looks like mist, which creates illusions and confuses people's minds. It is obvious that this mirage has not yet completed its transformation. Attilan does not intend to let the river clam go to the battlefield. It doesn't matter whether it is a mirage or a river clam, as long as it can produce pearls, but now when he looks at the dark night star, he can faintly feel a dreamlike power. Everyone saw that the dark night star was instantly attracted, and they knew that the value of this pearl was more than 10 times that of ordinary magic pearls of the same size. The psychedelic ability makes this pearl eligible to become the main pearl of a king, or even an emperor's crown. It is not easy to get it with 10,000 gold coins, provided that there is a person who wants to become an emperor. Not every king is qualified and has the funds to build such a luxurious magic crown. Attilan felt that he would lose a lot if he sold the Dark Night Star for only 10,000 gold coins. If there is a commercially developed super metropolis that can let him hype it up, maybe he can hype it up for 50,000 gold coins. The big problem is how to take it away. There are many evil dragons or their followers lurking in this metropolis. The evil dragons that receive the news will definitely come out to rob the property, and each of them is at least an adult. The rule followed by Attilan is to keep a low profile before adulthood, and to keep a low profile after adulthood. Only the ancient dragons are qualified to wander around. As long as there are evil dragons, there will be dragon slayers. Priest, this river clam field is its exclusive territory. Increase the water depth to at least 5 meters, and put the small fish caught into this pond first to ensure that the big clams have enough food. Yes, Dragon Lord, the Dark Night Stars cannot be sold, but based on the speed at which the big clams secrete nacre when there is enough food, it only takes 1 month to produce a large pearl with a diameter of more than 2 centimeters. And the most important thing is that it can customize the color of the pearl according to Attilan's needs. Originally, the color of the pearl is determined by the trace elements in the water, but this is a mirage. After changing the color of the pearl is natural and exudes an attractive luster. Priest, I remember your apprentice was learning to become a shaman. The first lesson was to let him learn how to distinguish the size of pearls in the river mussels and master the method of taking and planting pearls without hurting the river mussels. Everything is in accordance with your instructions, Dragon Lord. It is not difficult to take the pearls, but the difficulty lies in understanding the situation of the pearls in the mussel shells. Shamans communicate with elements and natural spirits. Attilan believes that Arai will find a way. Arai's talent can actually try to change his job to druid, but Attilan asked him to be a shaman because druids believe in nature and gods, while shamans can believe in elements, spirits, ancestors and other beings that help shamans grow. And Attilan perfectly meets the service conditions of a shaman who serves water elements and spirits. The source of shamans' power is their souls. They use their souls to communicate with those beings that can bring power. In this process, shamans can benefit, and those extraordinary beings can also get the soul energy of shamans. Although Arai is a little immature and his soul energy is not too much, a mosquito is still meat no matter how small it is. The help of this soul energy may play a vital role at a critical moment. Arai held a totem pole with a big black carp totem carved on it and ran to Attilan respectfully. I promised to complete the task. A drop of green water was ejected by Attilan's claws, fell on Arai's forehead and melted into it. Arai felt his mind clear up for a while, and there was a vague connection between him and Attilan. Compared with the black carp spirit, the water element lingering around Attilan's dragon body was too obvious, which made Arai unable to recover for a long time. Arai, take good care of the river mussel field, and the reward will not be just this drop of water of life. Yes, there is motivation only when there is a reward. As for ordinary fishermen laborers, it is not worth Attilan to set up carrots personally. The food that can fill their stomachs is enough for them to work hard all day. After placing the big clams, Attilan's snake soup was almost cooked. When he returned to the kitchen, He really smelled a faint fragrance. The pottery made by the half-goat people was still not up to standard, otherwise there would be no fragrance at all. Taking out the Dark Night Star, Attilan said proudly, "Look, this is the first valuable treasure in my life, the Dark Night Star." The goat man widened his eyes and stretched out his hand with greed, but was directly pulled back by Attilan's tail. "What are you doing? Just look at it, don't touch it." The goat man stared straight at it. "This is not a Dark Night Star at all, it is the psychedelic orb that the trickster dreams of. With a staff made of psychedelic orbs, the trickster can come and go without a trace. Is it opened from the body of a river clam? For a trickster, this thing is simply a treasure of enlightenment. It improves the speed of learning illusion and enchantment spells and enhances the effect of spells." The goat man immediately felt that he still had a chance to save himself. After the goat man explained, Attilan understood that with a psychedelic orb staff, the goat man could upgrade from an SR card to an SSR card. If he had the Dark Night Star, he would even have the chance to touch the limit of ordinary professionals. Level 20 rogues, and then legendary rogues, are not realms that can be achieved by external objects. Looking at the hopeful eyes of the satyr, Attilan sighed. "You don't really think that a staff can improve so much, do you? Any profession requires serious practice and a painful process to achieve results. Think about your previous performance. Are you worthy of the Dark Night Stars?" The satyr lowered his head in shame. He relied on the innate advantages of his race to become a trickster, but the price was that his illusion had loopholes. Because his basic rogue stealth skills were not up to standard, and his knowledge of illusion and enchantment spells was not up to standard, he really became a trickster, combining the skills of the two, and he was not smooth at all. It takes time for the big clown to breed a new illusion orb. If you can meet the occupation requirements of the trickster before then, I promise to give you the second illusion orb. Now try the snake soup first. The first pot was clear water snake soup, very tender and fresh, fully retaining the original flavor of the snake meat. The second can is honey snake soup. The honey blends the characteristics of the snake meat into whole. While highlighting the freshness of the snake meat, the softness of the honey lingers in the mouth. This dish is smooth, tender, fresh and sweet. In one word, it is absolutely amazing. The third can is black fungus and mushroom snake soup. The black fungus is chewy and the mushrooms are plump and juicy. It feels like bursting when you bite it. It is paired with a fresh and sweet snake meat and put it into your mouth. It is delicious and sweet. This taste is absolutely amazing. The fourth can uses too many ingredients. The goat man did not mix the ingredients well. The taste of the snake soup is too rich, and people can't tell the difference. The goat man was still thinking about how to improve it, but Attilan suddenly took out the Dark Night Star. "My trickster magic chef, now I give you a chance to prove yourself. Use illusion and magic cooking to create our unique food illusion series." The goat man took the orb and cast a spell on the most successful honey snake soup. Then he drank a sip of the soup himself and his eyes widened instantly. "The smooth snake meat tightly wrapped around my body." This extreme stimulation of the taste buds made it impossible to break free. Delicious. Extremely delicious, obviously. The goat man fell into the illusion he created. It's Tuesday, please keep reading. Chapter 24 Love, Hate and Vengeance. Since the food illusion is indeed feasible, Attilan will add his own specialties to it. After the illusion dissipated, the centaur who had just woken up heard Attilan's illusion effect requirements, frowned and asked in embarrassment, "Why do you want to focus on honey? This dish is snake soup, and the highlight is the snake meat. Rendering honey is to steal the show." "I absolutely disagree. I will lend you the Dark Night Star for one day to study." The centaur held his head high, full of righteousness. "As a chef, you must have your own professional pursuits and beliefs. 2 days, I won't agree. Forget it, I'll do it myself. 2 days is 2 days, leave it to me, don't worry, I'm a professional." The centaur is a wanderer, and Attilan knew how he could suddenly become so professional, and it was not for the sake of getting more contact with the Dark Night Star. Remember, the illusion of honey is a goddess surrounded by flowers. She does not need a clear face. He can taste who brewed this unique honey, let the goddess's face change to the person he thinks according to his thoughts. This is natural. It is his own idea, not something we force into his mind. He will not resist. After the spell was over, seeing Attilan holding the pottery jar and preparing to leave, the goat man asked curiously, "Who is this jar of honey snake soup with magic to capture? Who actually asked you to help pursue his sweetheart?" Attilan said seriously, "Don't ask about things you shouldn't ask." The most important thing for a wanderer is to restrain his curiosity, otherwise he will kill himself sooner or later while running around. Running around is running around from one place to another on the map. The journey of life is actually running around with tasks again and again. Such a philosophical statement, the goat man didn't think it should come from the mouth of Attilan, a dragon who only cares about money and calculations, which simply lowered the tone of this statement. Attilan flew away, and the goat man began to compete with a fourth can of snake soup, trying to do addition and subtraction to concoct a perfect recipe. Attilan's added snake soup was naturally prepared for the bear man, and he couldn't wait to see the bear man make a fool of himself. In order to ensure the harmony of the snake soup as much as possible, he asked the goat man to highlight the fragrance of flowers in the honey, which added a flavor to the snake soup invisibly. "Master, look what good things I brought back for you again." The bear man walked out of the tree hole angrily and looked at Attilan unhappily. He hadn't settled the bread issue with Attilan yet. Magic cuisine, honey snake soup. The bear man looked closer at the magic aura, and after confirming that it was really magic cuisine, he looked at Attilan with a little surprise. He didn't expect that his apprentice could toss out such a high-end dish as magic cuisine so quickly. "Then I must try it." He first took a sip of snake soup, which was very sweet, but "why does it smell like flowers, master? Try the snake meat." The teeth tore the snake meat apart, and the honey juice locked in it burst out instantly. In an instant, the bear man seemed to see a beautiful woman surrounded by flowers falling from the sky, circling around him and returning to the distant sky. For some reason, his heart suddenly became dazed, and he inadvertently remembered his youthful years of studying. Although he inherited the school of life of the ocean dragon, he was also sent by his master to other druid masters to learn the unique insights of different druid schools. Compared with other druid masters who delved into animal transformation, plant control, and elemental shaping, the school of life, which is good at nurturing life, is so inconspicuous. Angina is the most dazzling rose among the druids who gathered to study, beautiful and moving but full of thorns. Gina of the school of plants likes the thorn roses she cultivated herself the most, which have a series of attack effects such as charm, imprisonment, poison, blood-sucking, physical spikes and energy petal attacks. No young druid can resist the temptation of rose taboos. Except for Gauge. He was at the bottom of the class when he entered school, but he had a deep understanding of the components of nature with the characteristics of the school of life. He was not good at attacking, but he could resolve the attack. The school of life gave him, who was originally a beast-like bear man, a more tenacious vitality. At the same time, the spells of the school of life cracked the effects of Gina's thorn roses one by one. The big stupid bear in everyone's mouth successfully attracted Gina's attention. Because he was stupid and stubborn, he didn't understand Gina's little thoughts at all, and simply thought that Gina wanted to discuss with him how to cultivate better thorn roses. Until the end of the training camp, Gauge stupidly returned to the forest of the school of life. Your master was very angry at that time. So many young druids of the same generation went home with their partners, but I was still alone. I didn't expect Gina to visit our forest. Attilan nodded thoughtfully. What happened next? The sound of the spoon scraping against the bottom of the pottery jar made the bear man sober up, and he immediately realized how many things he had said that he shouldn't have said. Later, my apprentice put a spell in my soup. I beat him up and warned him not to say anything he shouldn't say. What do you think of this story? Seeing the murderous wave in the bear man's eyes, Attilan turned around and wanted to run. Unfortunately, his tail was too long, and he was caught and dragged back by the bear man. After a beating, the bear man was still somewhat relieved. He was so easily caught by Attilan's preset spell. When he faced Gina's thorn rose temptation, he didn't fall so quickly. It was a very ingenious idea. This kind of environment that complements the food can definitely create a new school of magic chefs, which can be considered a branch of the school of life. The bear man scratched his chin. He realized that he seemed to have not yet taught the unique skills of Attilan's school of life. Attilan, do you know what the biggest feature of the school of life is? Is it life? If the school is called the school of life, you would answer life. If it is called the school of plants, wouldn't you answer plants? The bear man did not approve of this tricky answer. Attilan's eyes turned. Since it is a school inherited from the ocean dragon, then, is it vitality? That's right. The biggest feature of the school of life is to transform all the magic in nature into its own vitality. If you learn this skill to a high level, you can recover from injuries as long as you don't die instantly, of course, if you are hit by a spell that limits life recovery. You need to remove the negative effects first. Attilan was instantly attracted by the invincible passive skill. You know what to say and what not to say, right, Master? Don't worry, I'm the most strict. The bear man nodded with satisfaction, and dots of fluorescent light gathered from all around his body. Very good, I will now teach you the first secret of the School of Life, the Reserve of Vitality. My family, please read it again on Tuesday. Chapter 25 Druidry. After receiving the bear man's earnest, heavy, and earnest, punching, teachings, beating, Attilan naturally couldn't let this beating go in vain. He had to let the vine girl Gina know what he had paid for her and the bear man's love. Master, you also know that we are short of materials for trying magic cooking. Can you give me some natural magic acorns that you have nurtured with druid spells? My magic cooking skills have been practiced. Master, you can enjoy it too. Looking at Attilan's eyes, it is clear that the bear man will have to bleed today. The teaching just now was a threat, and the acorns now are temptations. The bear man could only turn around and take out a vine basket full of acorns from the tree hole. Take it. The bear man wanted to leave a few for himself as snacks, but Attilan directly snatched the basket away and looked at the bear man with a smile. Thank you, Master. The bear man waved his hand impatiently to drive him out. Go, go, go. Don't come back if nothing happens, and don't come back if something happens. Attilan took off happily. With this basket of acorns, he and the goat man can try a lot of magical pastries. Although acorns are more suitable for making jelly, they must be innovative. Avoiding other fishmen and landing in the kitchen where only the goat man was, Mep looked at Attilan in surprise and asked, You didn't go to deliver food, why did you get eaten? It's because of the illusion. Quickly pick a few acorns, grind them into powder, and boil acorn jelly. After cooling, cut them into small pieces and drizzle with honey. I will give them away after the illusion. If my injury heals, it won't work. This time, the acorn jelly focuses on the natural freshness of the acorn. It should have the feeling of tall oak trees entwined with vines and thorns with blooming flowers. Do you understand? Got it. How could he, a trickster famous for his weird assassination skills, become a chef who enchants magic dishes? This acorn jelly is not difficult to make, because the acorn is a species specially cultivated for eating, so it does not have the astringent taste of ordinary acorns, but has a light sweetness. It is indeed a must-have for druids to relax in daily life. Soon, Attilan took this sweet dish to the 100 Flowers garden. When she saw Attilan, Fugitive was a little surprised. She gave him such a big jar of honey, but he used it up in just one day. Auntie, try this dish. Looking at Attilan's swollen face, Fugitive frowned and asked, Wait a minute, what happened to your face and these injuries on your body? After I went back, I made a dish with honey and sent it to my master. I was a little confused in my words and he taught me a lesson. They're all minor problems. Master taught me the self-healing technique of the life school, and it will heal soon. Fugitive's face turned cold. What do you mean? Eating my honey makes him so unhappy. Attilan smiled and shook his head. Auntie, you are wrong. It is because Master cares that he reacts so strongly. He also gave me acorns. This dish is made of acorns. Fugitive felt that it made sense. If the bear man didn't care about her, he would not have such a big reaction. Her mood instantly became happy. She hummed a little tune and began to taste the honey jelly. The beautiful vision in the dish made Fugitive cry. Zaya along, do you think I can have such a day? Of course, the goal has been achieved. And Attilan began to use the self-healing technique to eliminate the swollen parts. Each swollen part has a bit of natural magic from the bear man. The self-healing technique decomposes, transforms, absorbs and restores these magic powers. Attilan found that his physique has actually improved. If he is beaten like this every day, he will be able to completely enter the medium size in less than 2 months. I thought the bear man was just angry and beat him up, but now it seems that you have to be beaten once before learning self-healing. No wonder the bear man said that the school of life is a school that is good at being beaten. After eating this sweet and sweet dish, Fugitive felt as if her goal had been achieved, and she was in a very happy mood. When she came out of the illusion, she saw Attilan practicing self-healing. What's the point of using a spell like the optical life school that can only be beaten? Auntie will teach you the unique spell of our botanical school. By the way, how far have you practiced druid? I am adjusting the layout of plants in the forest and transferring the extra big trees to areas that can provide nutrients for growth. I am not proficient in plant transfer, and I can only transfer about 5 trees a day. Who knows? Fugitive waved her hand disdainfully. You are still using the old-fashioned spell of plant transfer to train your apprentice. Auntie will teach you the plant activation spell of the botanical school, which will temporarily activate the trees into tree people and let them transport themselves over. This spell is great. The transfer spell is really inconvenient to use, and you can save some trouble by letting the trees go over by themselves. After Fusion's explanation, Attilan found that this activation spell was not simple. It was practical and convenient, but the spell was difficult to learn. It is normal that such a useful spell is difficult to learn. In addition, the revitalization technique can not only be used to practice and transfer trees, but it is also the starting skill of the botanical school in battle. The druids of this school can be said to be plant summoners. Fusion said that the oak that is activated at the highest level of the revitalization technique is as smart as a real tree man, but the activity time is relatively short. The longest recorded time is 6 hours. Moreover, frequent revitalization techniques can help trees open up their wisdom and transform from ordinary trees to enlightened tree men. However, you must be careful when using the revitalization technique, as it will consume the tree's own vitality to supply activities. Consuming too much vitality will affect the growth and life of the tree. The purpose of the revitalization technique is to promote the flow of magic power in the plant body and stimulate the activity of the tree body. Attilan sighed and said with emotion, I feel that the skills of the botanical school are very adaptable, while the skills of our life school are very narrow. It seems that I will have to take the recommendation letter from my master to participate in the exchange meeting in the future. The exchange meeting is held every 50 years, and the next one should be 10 years away. Before that, you should learn the knowledge of the botanical school and the life school from me and your master. At the exchange meeting, you will definitely be able to surpass others. I remember that your master also learned the skills of the animal school very well. The only thing he is not good at is the elemental school. Shang Laodang is so powerful, how come you can't see it at ordinary times? Wait a minute, Laodang usually just controls a few vines or uses his claws. The real skills of the animal school and the life school are useless. Teaching them self-healing skills today is much more useful than any general treatment for minor and serious injuries. I have dabbled in the elemental school a little bit. He studies material life, and I study elemental life. Let's see who is better. Hiss. Attilan always feels that these two people are like those old seniors in the story who have each other in their hearts but never say it out. They have been fighting for their whole lives. They may not be able to help but reveal their true feelings until they die, but what's the point at that time? Wait a minute, Laodang is a legendary druid, and Fusion was tit for tat with Laodang. She is probably also a legendary druid. If the two of them become a pair, wouldn't he have two legends protecting him? Daily beast taming, pure ranch farming and leisurely life text, beast taming friends book, brainless rush for healing shows like Natsume's Book of Friends, harmonious picture scrolls of people and spirit beasts. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.